produced in full or in part without the expressed written consent of the producers, the McKinney Media Group. This is Hard Copy on the McKinney Broadcasting Radio Network. Hard Copy seeks to lay out the facts in simple fashion with the inclusion of all Bahamians and Bahamians at heart. The focus every day to move forth right in our manner, to build a progressive and developing country. In our desire for Bahamas, we want a competent, skillful, and productive workforce. We, the people, that's what we want, and we want a country that can feed and sustain itself. A country with a brilliant visionary action plan that's ready to embrace the future of hope and prosperity. We encourage like-minded Bahamians just like you to participate with in contributions. After all, my friends, we have a country to build. We've got jobs and industry to create. We've got a people to inspire and empower. And generations of born and unborn Bahamians, we the people, must protect and plan for. And if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Today on Hard Copy, we sit down, we dissect, we look at and analyze this full 9 yards. What is going on and who is in charge of things? In a minute.
The Parkinson's Foundation is going all the way and keeping hope alive with our 17th annual Kingdor Parkinson Foundation Gala Ball, featuring R&B sensation Jeffrey Osborne. Saturday, April 29th at the Malaya Nassau Beach Resort. Jeffrey Osborne Live. Cocktails 6:45 p.m. Dinner is 8 p.m. sharp. For tickets, call 434-0697 or 326-5291. Be there.
They've had their chance, turned off their cell phones, neglected their appointments, and became deaf to your cries for help. But all you got was plunder and broken promises. No more. Elect D. Halson Mutri as your next Member of Parliament for Nassau Village. He personifies honesty and integrity, has the courage and the fortitude, and has a vision and plan for Nassau Village. D. Halson Mutri and the Free National Movement. Absolutely the best choice. They punished you for 5 years. May 10th, it's your turn to punish them.
This is D. Halson Mutri, and I approve this message.
I don't have money to waste. So when it comes to insurance, I come straight to Advantage Insurance on Collins Avenue. They find me the best rates on policies to cover my car, house, boat, business, and you get all kinds of discounts. 15% off if you have a Hilltop home, 30% off if you're a first-time customer. They stay saving you money. When every dollar counts, count on Advantage.
Call Advantage Insurance at 356-0285 or visit us on Collins Avenue today. Advantage Insurance, celebrating 20 years.
Looking for that one-stop shop where you can find everything? Hadji's is just the place. A fully stocked store that is convenient and reliable. If you're looking for automotive, electrical, lawn and garden, household, nails and screws, hardware, power tools, plumbing, stop by Hadji's on St. Albans Drive. They have a full line of groceries, personal notions, and sundry. Your one-stop shop for everything. Hadji's, number 22 St. Albans Drive. Call them at 323-4375.
ICS Security Concepts, providing only the best in manpower and security technology. We specialize in private investigations, background screening, surveillance monitoring, armored money transfer, man guard security services, and much more. Give us a call at 394-0912, or you can email us at info@icsSecurityBahamas.com. Check out our website at www.icsSecurityBahamas.com. At ICS, we are keeping an eye on things.
If you are suffering from a foot injury or disorder, make plans to visit Bahamas Foot and Ankle on Blake Road in Western New Providence. There they treat a number of foot ailments and injuries like arthritis pain, bunion and hammer-toes, corn and calluses. They provide diabetic foot care and education, and services also include treatment for fracture, dislocations, and sprains. They can permanently remove that ingrown toenail, plus an array of other services available. Bahamas Foot and Ankle, Blake Road. Telephone 302-4607.
Paul David Morse is a man on a mission because the people of Marathon deserves more. More accountability, more compassion for a listening ear, more of a clean and safe environment for you and your children, more green spaces, more community FaceTime from your member of parliament. Marathon, it's time for more of the right stuff. Vote Paul David Morse of the People's Movement and get what you really deserve. More.
And I'm Paul Morse, and I am ready to help rebuild our Bahamas.
This was a paid political ad of the People's Movement.
It's a unanimous decision. I said we're ready for change.
I'm Thelma Miller, and in the afternoon, me and my son Nicholas on our way home, we would listen to Hard Copy. I enjoy it, I appreciate it, and I would like for one day to meet Mr. Steve McKinney.
My favorite station is 107.5, and my favorite show is Hard Copy.
An Easter break basketball showcase just for girls. The Diamond Basketball Development Program is inviting all girls from public, private, and family island basketball teams in grades 10 through 12 to its first annual Easter break all-girls showcase, April 19th to 21st at AF Auto League Gymnasium, 8 o'clock a.m. to 1 p.m. daily. 5 coaches from 5 junior colleges in Oklahoma City will be in town to offer scholarships. So parents, bring out or send your daughter to the showcase to show off her talent. For further information, call Coach McSweeney at 242-456-1477. Diamond Basketball Development All-Girls Showcase. Be there.
Based on the premise of anything you can do, we can do better in the Bahamas. The Bahamian Brewery is 100% Bahamian owned and operated. Our thanks to you, Bahamas, for supporting our family of beers and beverages. Sands Light, High Rock, Strong Back, Bush Crack, Pink Sands, and Triple B. Brewed and bottled here and consumed right here in our Bahamas. Now that's truly Bahamian. The Bahamian Brewery encourages all of its fans to drink in moderation.
And now, here's a message from Bishop Neil C. Ellis.
When Jesus was about to die, he said, "It is finished." Watch what he said now. It, he knew what it was, and you know what it is. It, personal pronoun, is present tense. Finish, past tense. What's this now? Personal pronoun, present tense, past tense. When Jesus said, "It is," immediately it was. That's why finish is in the past tense. When he said, "It is," immediately it was. That means it was a wrap, it was over, it was finished, it was done. You have that same power to tell some things going on in your life. You finish. You can talk to yourself and tell yourself, "It is finished."
Stand up for choice. That radio. It's the Steve McKinney Show. Bahamas life. Ain't no jive. Touching every soul. Trying to get the message out to people far and near. Giving thanks to the one who brought us here. Brought us here. Brought us here.
You're right on the heartbeat. I mean, and the pulse of the people in the nation.
That gives people information what they don't really think about.
And I mean, it's the bomb.
I am just amazed.
Keep up the good work. I'm one of those persons out here who believe in everything that you're doing.
You can hear the passion in your voice.
He's very knowledgeable and just what everything he does.
He has a more calm, a more balanced, and a more tranquil attitude with the people that call him in the show. So I would say he's a better speaker or show host.
there's one show that I think that the hearing people need to listen to, it's Hard Coffee.
It is Friday, the 21st day in the month of April, 2017. As you battle the congested city streets and drive home traffic, we have partly cloudy skies. 81 for a high right now in the capital. There's a low tonight expected around 73 degrees. Thank you so much for joining us on the drive home. I'm Steve McKinney. This is Hard Copy. We're brought to you today by Paul David Moss and the TPM, Evangelist Spices and Manufacturing, ICS Security, Best in the Business, Water and Sewage Corporation, Bahamas Public Parks and Beaches Authority, Mount Tabor Inspiration, the Ministry of Tourism, Echo Water, the official water of Hard Copy, the Parkinson Foundation, the Free National Movement, Halcyon Nutri, Nassau Village, Hadji's, your everything store, Commonwealth Bank, New Debit Card, Rocky Farms Nursery on Seabreeze Lane. We're also brought to you today by Cool Tech, the Air Can Do experts on Tonique Williams Darling Highway, Bahamian Brewery and Beverages, Superwash, open 24/7, the Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions, Super Value, the All Bahamian Supermarkets, Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, Ron Frazier and Ron's Electric Motors on Carge and Wolf Road, Executive Printers on Jerome Avenue, the McKinney Media Group for the best results in advertisements, and Bahamas Foot and Ankle out there on Blake Road. Boy, have we got something for you today. You don't want to miss this because it's interesting. I'm going to play some sound bites for you today that will blow your mind because you didn't believe that we'll find it, but we did. 325-0235 or 632-502-42 or 43, 325-0252 or 53. Those of you in Grand Bahama, you can call me toll free. And Abaco and Eleuthera, please do get involved. It's all free. WhatsApp and texting today, 376-9234. And you can follow us on the World Wide Web at peace1075.com, Hard Copy, YouTube's channel, cable top box 970. Plus, you can get us too on BTC Flow on the go at 613. You can also get us on TuneIn Radio. Get your iPad, iPhone, any Android. You'll get us around the world, wherever you are, wherever we are. We are right there with you on TuneIn Radio. Look for the Peace logo, and you'll just get us. Click on that. Follow us on the Facebook at Hard Copy 242, and of course on Twitter, Hard Copy Bahamas. Boy, isn't this something with Jerome Fitzgerald? Hey, Jerome Fitzgerald is now the focus of everybody who is looking for the Christie administration to do the right thing and give themselves a chance. Why do I say that? Everybody is now, including the leader of the opposition, and rightly so, is calling on Perry Gladstone Christie to either fire Jerome Fitzgerald or accept his resignation. They're calling on Jerome Fitzgerald to resign because they think it's the most honorable thing that he can do. But there are some things, there's some dilemma here. Certainly, it would be quite right for Mr. Fitzgerald to resign, given the fact that he had been hustling an investor for money, given the fact that by his own words, he is taken by the cords of his own sin by writing emails, begging through his emails, Sarkis' Meridian for money. While he sits in the cabinet around Christie's table, while the rules indicate, very clear for all to know and see, you just can't do that. It's a conflict of interest. And that Jerome, notwithstanding that he is on shaky ground and was from the time of 2013 when he begun writing a series of emails begging for money for him, his family. Never mind the circumstances of, the fact is he is in the cabinet. He is writing these emails to get some money. He is in great error if he doesn't see that there is a interest. In fact, what people don't realize, and what Jerome Fitzgerald may not realize, is that the very headline
given first and foremost by the Tribune about this whole thing that he did. This morning's newspaper comes back out and talks about the minister admitting. Of course, I read it for you yesterday. I read the whole release that he says that yes, he didn't deny it or anything of the sort. But the Daily Guardian, following up the story from the Tribune, who had really put the story together and did the investigation and released the story first and foremost for all to see. Today, the Guardian comes out and says that the minister admits soliciting Sarkis. See, that's the word right there. Once he admits to solicitation. That's the headline. You got to get it. He admits to soliciting Sarkis for money as a cabinet minister from 2013 in a series of emails back and forth. Never mind that he says that nothing came out of it, that he didn't get nothing at the end of the day. It is just the very act of him doing what he did in soliciting who is a paid official of the Bahamas government by the people of this country. He's paid to do a job of business for the Bahamas, and he does a job in conflict of interest in trying to garner business for himself. This is what is called a conflict of interest for those out there who stand. And I don't mean to talk down to you, please. I'm just wanting to emphasize something. That there are some people who have no difficulty whatsoever with that. Just as I said yesterday. They have no difficulty with that. As far as they're concerned, man, that's cool. But you see, there's a principled position about an honorable man sitting in the parliament and in the cabinet of the Bahamas. Christie knows that, and that's why he outlined to everybody, all and sundry, in the beginning of them coming into this season, not now, but I'm talking about in 2012 when they came to office, that, anybody who would be found in a position where they even give a hint that they're doing something out of the way, something dishonorable, something clandestine, that there's no room for them in the precincts of the House of Assembly or in his cabinet. Well, we all know that Christie is a very nice guy, and so to him, this means he feels bad about it, I'm sure, but, he's not the kind of fellow who's going to ask for Jerome's resignation. Jerome ought to have known better, but he did not exercise due diligence. He didn't do the right thing, and sometimes you've got to pay for things like that. It's a hell of a thing to pay at this stage of the game when he's already been ratified and nominated and ratified to contest the general elections of 2017 in Marathon. Some believe that because he's already been ratified and is the standard bearer, that is something that cannot be undone. Well, I don't know. I've tried to check it today to find out if that can be undone and somebody else can replace Jerome, because, they'll use and say, you can't move him because he's already done fight, and anything of movie a foolish thing, because at the end of the day, they have passed the nomination, so there's nobody else there for the seat. Due diligence comes in. This is where leaders have to anticipate they know who their candidates are. They certainly have accused of not scrutinizing his candidates enough. Again, there's been no candidate who's brought this kind of to the body politic of the Free National Movement. You have got a minister who has done something egregious, shaming people, to the Christie administration. He has dishonored a lot of people. Very disappointing situation for Jerome Fitzgerald, a man who had some promise at some point. And I said had some promise, because now that the length of the level of where one would go, and they see the character of do what he did, running down, soliciting, begging for money, not focus on what he's supposed to be doing as an official of the government. But it's for him, because, he needs some money. Jerome Fitzgerald would simply resign early and let Christie be the one who have the headache of replacing him, if called a headache of trying to replace him before the general elections. It's either that he runs and he brings the whole party into and scandal. The people now are going to paint the whole party by the way Jerome Fitzgerald size the whole party up. That's what the electorate going to believe it or not. This is what the heaviness of the situation is right now. They will weigh totally, will take some serious bruising because new latest episode of scandal, because people expect Mr. Christie to do, and that's to ask Mr. Fitzgerald to please step aside and find a way. Now, I haven't checked. I haven't been able to be successful finding out if your thoughts. Maybe entry registration department, somebody there can tell me if he can be replaced. Has this ever happened? Because really, well, not we, the PLP is, because the people will vote in a way reflective across the country this decision that they have made to not even try to replace him or not even believe that. Believe that. They've been looking for any excuse anyway. Kick these fellas. Got legitimate reasons to say we can't accept that. All because of a minister. I would go as far as saying I believe his colleague would rather rid their party of, for fear that all of them may be involved in a snowball effect, a domino effect of defeat. I would go as far as saying that. I could be wrong, I could be dead wrong, but I don't think I am. The movement will perhaps have to do everything in their power to keep the focus on it. Certainly the media is key today, my friends. The media, very scrutinizing. Certainly will keep it to the forefront until May 10th, and even after to the forefront. So Mr. Christie has to do some deep thinking and make a decision that may be very unpopular for his blue eye, but it may be the saving grace for him and his PLP. Merry men. Is there a sacrifice that's going to be made? Now, I can tell you, many of them are prepared to kick the pants at this because they themselves are already on a shaky wicket. Rough time for the PLP, rough time, even though they've been tricked and do their thin and easy road. The numbers last night at the F&M and the people comparisons tells you by no, the Free National Movement has the swing right now. They have the momentum. They have now by the sizes, and I checked both crowds personally. And I saw the pictures. Duration, they have the swing. Now, this foolishness that has happened with Jerome and some other stuff that has happened with Wayne Monroe, the new bright-eyed boy to win Freetown. He had said some things last night that gives us the complete picture of this conundrum that the PLP may be in them being loose and vulgar. But then again, follow the leader. The leader has been on a tantrum where there's been loose and vulgar behavior. It started with Mr. Christie in Fox Hill. It was Mr. Christie who flipped the bird in Fox Hill. There was many of you out there in the Bahamas who, in fact, were unforgiving of him flipping the bird. Throwing his finger up at that was very rude and vulgar. And he didn't say sorry, not in the way that the Bahamians know you say. He came off talking about, oh, since Christie was the one who flipped the bird, this was the beginning of the long walk dark. The abyss, the long walk. The bird, that was gaffe number one, mistake corrected by the leader. Christie, not to be outdone, he decided that he's going to go a little further. He comes back and he throws Michael Alkitis in trying to explain that he was upset that this value-added tax expert months after it was supposed to be given, and he finally gave it. He says, you know, he has this junior minister got to challenge him because, to piss away public funds. Strike two. Because the way it was said, it came across vulgar, it came across as un-prime ministerial, and people have been watching that. This began to become a crack in the armor that's started how you move to the other matter after pissing away funds. Christie comes back and says all other manner of things and sets a tone where even Wayne Monroe, who spoke last night at the Arawaki situation, comes back and he says something, and with a gesture, just like Christie, a gesture, he says these people could tell them on May 10th that, words to that effect, that they can kiss by spanking his backside and keep on walking. It's a gesture that was made, and it now renders these people as very vulgar. There's no place in the campaign for this vulgarity, but it is what it is. But maybe this whole thing started long before that. Maybe this whole meltdown started when Christie lost it in Abaco. Pay attention now, because I got something for you. When Christie was in Abaco on that by-election campaign, early in the game, at the beginning of his term in office in 2012, Christie went berserk. And no one could find the sound bite of what he actually said about you can go to God or wherever you go. You could go to the man in charge of the country. You could go to the politicians who may be in charge. But at the end of the day, you have to come back and come to him anyway. Oh, a lot of people said, oh my God, he didn't say that. And a lot of people said, boy, that is not a good thing for the man to say, because this is the beginning of the crack in the armor way back then. And this may why they are in such a rough spot in this term, because people, Bahamians, and when Bahamians believe something, friends, don't fool yourself. We are very religious, if not Christian, very religious. We have some things that you just don't do. We from the old school where if you pass the church, you take off your hat. You stop talking when you pass the church building. And Christie's alleged to have said that. And I told people, to be fair with Christie, I never heard that. I missed that. Then I knew Ken Dames wrote something about it. And I researched it and I saw, yes. But I said, but there's no sound bite for it. And I've been searching high and low looking for the soundbite. Alas, I found the sound bites. Are you ready? Because this is to show you that you just can't say things loose as a leader. There are implications, there are consequences and situations and repercussions. From the time Christie said at the beginning of his career in this term in office, that it forecasts a dark shadow across his administration, because people sure believe it. And today, maybe you will hear it for the very first time, though it was retrieved from the archives of one Aaron Ferguson. Today, stand by. Here it comes. This is Christie and Abaco. This may have been the beginning, and I only play this today because this may have been the beginning of this long walk into the abyss.
You can go to Gomez. You even could go to Minutes. But then they gotta call me. They can have the best intention in the world. They can pray and do, oh God, I want to do this. But God has spoken. Be the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
That's one version. There's a longer version that I will save in a second. I may play it in a minute, but there's a longer version. That's the context of what Christie was talking about, and mixing God and this kind of thing could have been where people believe that he was bigger than life itself. But that's a part of the sound bites. And the sound bite is approximately 2 minutes long. So he went on a spiel with this thing. We will play it sometime today or soon. That may have been the beginning of this kind of bravado, this kind of beating the chest. I'm in charge. We don't know. But certainly, this that we've been talking about would have opened the door for a lot of things. Flipping the bird, and, pissing away funds and all this kind of stuff, and opening the door for Wayne Monroe to say what he said. And by the way, did you get what he said, Wayne Monroe? He was at a rally last night at Arawaki. And Wayne had this to say, and you've got to imagine and picture it if you saw the video of it. This is what it was all about.
On May 10th, we gotta tell these people, this hour and walk fast.
It's not really a joke, right? But this is the beginning of the meltdown. Tell these people May 10th, the kiss hour, slapping his backside, and walk fast. Vulgar language. I suppose Wayne will tell me if he was here that, well, at least it wasn't Holy Week. Because he told me that, these things, he told me, when I told him that they were having all this talk about rallies and stuff, he said, man, it wasn't Holy Week, it was Easter Monday when we had them things. So maybe it wasn't Holy Week. But these are things that people will start to weigh in the balance and deal with, because they're serious things. They may sound frivolous and small to some of you, but these things are big things to a lot of people. And nothing is even more bigger than that of Jerome Fitzgerald saying what he said, doing what he did, and believing that he should still be able to run, and that's nobody can do anything about it. They shouldn't want to have a problem with this, because this is how we've been doing it for so long. Well, you could be the judge of that. Wayne was also very, very loose in talking about some other things while he was on my show. And we had a good little discourse, because I like Wayne, to be honest with you. Like Wayne. It's nothing personal. But sometimes the way that you conduct yourself publicly is what people are now scrutinizing. All of us are being scrutinized every day. And people don't expect certain things out of potential leaders. Wayne is a potential leader. There's no question about it. He's very, very talented. I like him, as I said. He's a young professional. And I think it's good that he's contesting Freetown. I don't know if he'll win, but I think it's good because that is what democracy is all about. But Wayne has been saying some things that have been indicative to me that, you know, it ain't all but that, and who don't understand him, they better listen close to what he's saying. That's what he told me. He says, listen close. He says, because when it comes to man, he don't follow no man. There's no one who can say that they're his leader. This is just the other day. Let me just play that soundbite for you.
I keep saying something to the people who seem to be listening. I do not follow men. I follow Christ.
Yes, you say that.
I keep saying that.
So this interview that you did that will come on television later, that may cause some people to have some funny feelings.
No, but it oughtn't, because that's what everyone should be doing. And we'll see. Being led in a particular way does not mean that we have a theocracy. It means that you govern yourself according to precepts, and I don't call any man my leader.
Understood.
Someone is the leader of my party.
Yeah. You see, the Bible says, man hand will fail you. You know, you won't believe in chariots and horses.
The hand of man will fail.
Ain't no question about it.
Also tells you not to trust any human being.
Wayne says, mustn't trust any human being. That's his personal view. And he says that you have to follow the concepts and the precepts of people who are, well, not people, but of the Bible. That's what he's saying. Do you think that he had followed the concepts and precepts when he slapped his backside and say that they can tell them to, on May 10th, to kiss our slap of the backside and then walk fast? Do you think that was the concepts and precepts that he espoused to be all about? I mean, you'll be the judge. I mean, I'm just asking because, you know, I don't know much about these things. But that is what he said. And there's a whole lot more. But these are all gaps, in my view, that have been made in the desperation of those who are seeking to be in charge of the country. And you've got to listen carefully and understand and then weigh it. Because on one hand, here's a man, Wayne Monroe, who is, he told me that he's all in the church, and he's, if you're looking for him in Freetown, you must find him at the church, because that's where he will be, at his church. And you can come there and meet him. And if you have to come out of church and meet 1,000 people there one day, that's how it's going to be. And so I put that to you because, and I don't believe that Wayne means anything bad. I just think that it's a problem where following the leader, something that he says he has no leader, he don't believe in man, following the leader could cause all kinds of shenanigans, if you see my point. All kinds. And so these are the things that they must deal with, the PLP, in addition to the fact that they have a group of people called Free National Movement Warriors on their hand, and they're outnumbering them at these rallies. It's a lot of things that they've got to deal with. But the biggest thing that the PLP must deal with now is this internal thing that maybe some fellas on the ship of state of the PLP are willing to help to throw Jerome Fitzgerald overboard for fear that they may all go down in a sea of defeat. Maybe that's what the whole thing is now. Will the captain listen to the first mate? Will they all say in chorus, "Man overboard"? Because this is what the circumstance, this is what the situation actually calls for. And we'll open our lines for you in a minute. You can comment. We'll talk. There's a lot of things that's happening today. John Bostwick joins me on the show today. So we're going to have an interesting conversation about all these things. Because this is the moment of truth. This is the time that Myles Munroe prophesied that we are supposed to be looking forward to. People who will take us into the new Bahamas. Maybe his prophecies already come true. He says that we will see things that we've never seen before. Certainly, we saw some emails yesterday that we had no idea. And certainly, we saw the people flipping the bird and all kinds of stuff we've never seen before. This is the unraveling of the mystery of mysteries, when the old weapons that used to keep us will not be able to keep us anymore. Are we seeing the beginning of the end? Look, behold, is that what this is? The beginning of the end for the governing party? Is it? Maybe not. Maybe they can rally the troops and get it all together. I don't know. But it sure don't look good, to be honest with you. And there has to be trouble within that camp. Christie made him his blue-eyed boy, and he has brought shame to the PLP. Maybe they'll suck it up and they'll be okay. What are we talking about? Maybe it's no big deal. Maybe he'll suck that all up and all will be well. Huh? What do you think? This is Hard Copy. Let us run to the break. When we come back, we'll talk with John Bostic on a number of things. We'll take your calls. We want to hear what you have to say. And yes, we've got the rest of that soundbite. Maybe we'll play it today. Maybe we'll save it. But you know now that it exists. There's something there that exists. There's a smoking gun. And we shall see. This is Hard Copy. Back in a minute.
When Granny saved myself some for a rainy day. Living for paycheck to paycheck, you live in the worst way. Plan your future goals with B.O.B. Your future is bright, bright, bright. And you can buy that car, save regularly. Your future's bright. And you can buy that house, save regularly. Your future's bright. I see you in your business, yeah. Here's what you need to do. So a little reap a lot. Higher interest from B.O.B. Go save. B.O.B., your bank of solutions.
Great news. Mobile number portability is here. Mobile number portability, or MNP for short, gives cell phone users more freedom to choose. MNP makes it possible to choose the mobile provider that suits you without the inconvenience of changing your phone number. So remember, with MNP, change mobile provider and keep your existing number. It's win-win. Contact IRCA for more information.
MNP, change your service, keep your number.
If it moves, chances are Advantage Insurance can insure it. We offer a variety of coverage options for cars, SUVs, trucks, scooters, boats, and more. Our comprehensive auto insurance policy covers loss or damage due to collision, theft, fire, flood, or hurricane. Third-party coverage is also available. Call Advantage Insurance at 356-0285 or visit us on Collins Avenue today. Advantage Insurance, celebrating 20 years.
They've had their chance, but all you got was plunder and broken promises. Turned off their cell phones, neglected their appointments, and became deaf to your cries for help. No more. Elect D. Halson Mutri as your next Member of Parliament for Nassau Village. He personifies honesty and integrity, has the courage and the fortitude, and has a vision and plan for Nassau Village. D. Halson Mutri and the Free National Movement. Absolutely the best choice. They punished you for 5 years. May 10th, it's your turn to punish them.
This is D. Halson Mutri, and I approve this message.
Grammy, can we go now?
As soon as I pay the bill, sweetie.
But you said you'd take me to the park today.
As soon as I pay the bill.
Grammy, why don't you sign up for the e-notification so you can see and pay your bill online?
Sign up for e-notifications. Receive your bills through email, view, print, and pay your bills online, leaving time for what matters. Sign up within the next 3 months and receive $10 off your next bill. The Water and Sewage Corporation, committed to growth, committed to quality.
Based on the premise of anything you can do, we can do better in the Bahamas. The Bahamian Brewery is 100% Bahamian owned and operated. Our thanks to you, Bahamas, for supporting our family of beers and beverages. Sands, Sands Light, High Rock, Strong Back, Bush Crack, Pink Sands, and Triple B. Brewed and bottled here and consumed right here in our Bahamas. Now that's truly Bahamian. The Bahamian Brewery encourages all of its fans to drink in moderation.
I enjoy hard copy. I just love the information. It's informative, relevant, and timely. I love it.
Spruce up the yard and decorate the house. Easter is upon us, and Rocky Farms Nursery is your big ticket. Get moving now to Rocky Farms Nursery on Seabreeze Lane and cash in on all the savings and wonderful Easter specials available in abundance. Decorative palms, indoor and outdoor, a glittering array of Easter lilies and mobs of every color, and those ever special orchids to suit every taste, plus soils and fertilizers. Yes, Rocky Farms Nursery is fully stocked and ready for Easter. What about you? Call them at 324-1239. Rocky Farms Nursery on Seabreeze Lane.
An Easter break basketball showcase just for girls. The Diamond Basketball Development Program is inviting all girls from public, private, and family island basketball teams in grades 10 through 12 to its first annual Easter break all-girls showcase, April 19th to 21st at AF Auto League Gymnasium, 8 o'clock a.m. to 1 p.m. daily. 5 coaches from 5 junior colleges in Oklahoma City will be in town to offer scholarships. So parents, bring out or send your daughter to the showcase to show off her talent. For further information, call Coach McSweeney at 242-456-1477. Diamond Basketball Development All-Girls Showcase. Be there.
Want to help in the crime fight? Looking for an opportunity to serve in the public? Do you have any security experience? Then come on down to ICS Security Concepts and apply. Located on Mackey Street and Ivanhoe Road. Our number is 394-0912. Or you can email us at info@icssecuritybahamas.com. If you want to know more, you can check our website out at www.icssecuritybahamas.com. Come on down and apply. ICS wants you to keep an eye on things.
Paul David Moss is a man on a mission because the people of Marathon deserves more accountability, more compassion for a listening ear, more of a clean and safe environment for you and your children, more green spaces, more community FaceTime from your member of parliament. Marathon, it's time for more of the right stuff. Vote Paul David Morse of the People's Movement and get what you really deserve. More.
And I'm Paul Moss, and I am ready to help rebuild our Bahamas.
This was a paid political ad of the People's Movement.
It's a unanimous decision. I said we're ready for change.
Big up yourself, man. It's the Steve McKinney Show on Bahamas Live.
Yeah, man, put on your thinking caps, man. Give it up.
Feel them in the one drop. Still got time to rock. You pick up your telephone. We all go to the throne. Steve McKinney bringing us. Fighting against the system. Taking a better way. As we struggle day by day, singing, I know Jah never let us down. Oh no, talking with God, I know Jah never let us down. Oh no, look at here, they make the world so hard. You got people fighting. They make the world so cold. Every day, people are dying. lamentation. Read it in Revelation. You'll find your redemptions. You can give us the teachings of His Majesty. We don't want no devil philosophy. Tell him, Steve, give us the teachings of His Majesty. We don't want no devil philosophy.
Oh, what a day it is today. This is Hard Copy, 325-0235 or 6. That's how you can call me if you want to comment or if you want to participate. What are your thoughts about Jerome Fitzgerald? Should he stick around? Should they keep him around? Would he be a drag on the PLP, who now appears to be trailing as far as the crowd is concerned? What do you make of it? That's a question I put for you. You can chime in on that anytime you so desire. As I talk today with John Bostwick here on the show. John, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good, Steve.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Always good to be here.
Yeah, and on this Friday, we are here on the Friday tradition to talk about a number of things because these matters of state come to our attention. We cannot just bypass them. We've got to dissect and analyze as much as we can. And you hear what the public has been saying about a number of things, and you see all the things falling down. It seems to me, in my opinion, John, that the bottom is beginning to fall out in this episode with the governing party, and it's because leadership is not what it ought to be, and it's beginning to tell. I've heard the PLPs that I know, bona fide, hardcore, never say die PLPs, who are concerned, very concerned about the state of affairs right now, that, Jerome has done something and they think he should be thrown overboard like a Jonah. But it doesn't appear that anybody is gaining any inside knowledge as to what's going to happen. Christie totally avoided this particular thing when he mounted the stage. All he says is something along the lines that Christie says there's PM warns about mischief. He says there's going to be a lot of mischief in this particular one. But you see, even on that score, John Bostwick, Christie was the one, and I advocated right here on this show, Hard Copy, to leave certain things alone. Do not go talking about people who owe money. Do not go talking about people who are, in fact, you believe incompetent and can't run the country. These things got a way of coming back as a boomerang. And here it is. Now some things are falling down on him, and the honors are on him to do the right thing with this Jerome Fitzgerald thing. And then, of course, other things that have happened where the chairman had been talking about who owes money to customs and all that. That has a way of coming back because more than everybody got dirty clothes in their closet. And sometimes you don't air those things ever in public, not even in politics. But they insisted that they should have a campaign based upon you say, I say, he ain't ready, this one dumb, this one incompetent, that kind of personal thing. When I was calling all along that, look, let us make sure that these guys are held into account, FNM and PLP and DNA, and be accountable and be transparent about issues in the country, real pertinent, salient issues that the public want to discuss, real issues, and we've got tons of them. But the guys decided that they want to go a different way. You see where we are now, since they've gone to go a different way, emails being leaked, emails being discovered, and there's much more to come. That's what's so scary. There are many other emails like that, to come, of people who would have been in not so good a position as far as propriety is concerned. It's a lot of stuff. And media is on top of it. You see, the same people who are now in the spotlight are the ones who says media need to do their job. Media don't know the fourth estate. Wayne Monroe told it to me right here on the show. The fourth estate, y'all didn't do your job. And as a result of that, the people don't know. You all got to do your job. Well, the fourth estate apparently is beginning to listen to him and do their jobs. That's a very interesting thing.
Steve, it is interesting. And as I kind of sat and listened to you in your opening, and again, what you said just now, there was a lot that you said just now. The fourth estate is doing their job, and that's a good thing. And all of a sudden, people's political garbage tins are apparently full of their own crap. Okay. And so you know, a lot of what people have been saying, Fitzgerald's words have come back to haunt him. They've come back to haunt him. His words, his behavior, his demeanor. And in reaction to all of that, he decides to dance like a Junkanoo clown.
You saw that
on the way to nomination, to say that
I thought he was losing it.
That
when I saw that,
he is as proud as could be.
Oh, that seemed to have been a dance of shame, because you know, really, the truth is, when I saw him flipping and flapping his arms around like that, I said, "Well, what's going on here? What did I miss?"
Boy, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the puppeteer had moved from pulling strings. You know, there's two ways you could operate a puppet, Steve.
Yep.
Yeah, either you could pull the strings, or you could put your hand up where Wayne was talking about it, and
operate it
like that.
Say, hello,
All right.
how are you?
Okay, and maybe get him to dance like, you know, he's doing like that.
Yeah,
maybe that's was where the puppet master was moving his hand, but who knows? Who knows? And it is quite interesting to see somebody who talked about political garbage cans suffering from things being pulled from garbage cans, and what is coming out of garbage is usually filthy and disgusting. Okay, and what has come out of this particular garbage is filthy and disgusting and repulsive. And the truth of the matter is that those words, filthy, disgusting, and repulsive, could also attach to something else done by Mr. Fitzgerald with regard to the filthy, disgusting, and repulsive, repugnant leak at Rubris that he also was proud of.
And he actually had water. I mean, of all the things, the one would now create a bottle of water with a face on it to campaign on, and bring reminders clear to people's mind that this the man who given this bottle of water now. What kind of water this is in this bottle?
Well, again, like you say,
it's almost like they romancing disaster.
The only thing right about the water was the yellow label, and that when you and I saw a case of that water with that yellow label on it, it looked like a case full of what Mr. Christie said that Mr. Halkitis was guilty of. Okay.
You mean pissing all. So the key word is piss.
So I figured that maybe Halkitis filled them bottles for Fitzgerald. You never know, because it had a strange yellow hue in the box.
Is that right?
It's strange. But as I looked closer, Steve, it was because of the way the labels was reflecting.
On the
but
water.
I looked at it. I said, "This water to drink."
But these bottles of water had Jerome Fitzgerald's face.
Jerome Fitzgerald's face on it.
I mean, but John, let's look at that for a second. Would anyone with any sense or any sense of remorse, any sense of, you know, boy,
and water,
the same thing that
you're being accused of covering up a contamination of the water table in your constituency, where you got a navel string, I have a navel string, you got a brother minister who got a navel string, you got family, and you got the nerve. Maybe what he's trying to say is, you know what, Steve,
to do this, and
Steve, that was an apology.
That was an apology.
That was to say, you can't drink your well water. Let me get some water.
You think that's what it was?
I think that's what it
But I think it provoked more thought about, this man got a nerve to bring water, and he know this water. And while we could appreciate this water, we can't trust him on this water that he put in his bottle, because the truth be told, it's political time, and he now coming to give us water when we've been drinking this bad water all this time, and we get sick from this water. This water had all the benzene and all these other carcinogens inside it, and now he coming. I mean, the nerve of him is what people in Marathon probably said.
The absolute flippant nerve of him. And the truth of the matter is, he should have been thrown under the bus from then. And so you wonder why it is that this person, who really should have been thrown under the bus from then, seems to have been elevated since that point.
Became the blue-eyed boy.
Okay.
Of the nation's chief.
Maybe because he could do the shuffle like Christie.
Well, he was trying to do the shuffle yesterday, but boy,
he almost had it.
He ain't no match for Christie.
But he almost had it.
Christie looked better than that.
Christie ain't teaching him everything yet, Steve.
Oh, that's what it is. So that's why he was all loose like that, like he ain't had no sense.
No, okay, you can't.
When I saw that video,
the puppet can't outdo the master, Steve.
I see. You're right about it, John. But when I saw that video, let me just say, when I saw that video, I said, has Jerome Fitzgerald taken leave of his mind?
No, but Steve, what I got to get clear is why I'm saying this puppet can't outdo the master. You must lay the blame of the puppet on the puppeteer.
On the puppeteer, the master.
The master.
Yeah. No question about it.
So I don't put any of the blame of any of these individuals
Mm-hmm.
on them. They can't do anything. They can't do anything. They are not individuals of free will.
They can do anything. They can do so. They can follow the leader.
No.
What I'm saying is that since he's the leader, and if he sets a good example, they may do good. But since the leader has not set the best example, they're all playing their role of being lewd, of being vulgar in certain
Steve, they puppets on the end of the street. Steve, if I put a puppet on the end of your hand right now and you lift up your hand, guess what will happen? The puppet hand will lift up too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Yeah. So imagine if you lift up your hand and you got a little funny gesture on the end of that. When the puppet lift up behind, he doing the same foolishness. Okay?
So in case people didn't see those pictures on that we have as far as the Wayne Monroe's speech and all that kind of thing, I think
you forget Leslie Miller sit right here.
They're posting
after the puppet master lift up behind, Leslie Miller sit right here, and he's doing the same thing. They can't help it.
I know when the puppet master lifted up his hand, Leslie Miller was able to try to repeat what the puppet master said when he was in the House of Assembly trying to explain the value-added tax. And I said, Leslie, what did he say? Leslie kept opening his book, looking at it and say, he addressed that. See it right here. I said, but what did he say? You got the book. What did he say? He turned the page and say, yeah, man, he deal with that. So I'm saying that to say sometimes strange things happen when, you see, there's this old African proverb. And the gods, you see, it talks about madness and all that. He says, whom the gods seek to destroy, they first make mad. In other words, revelations and things will come down that you have no idea that this what it was. You mean to tell me this the crazy stuff that we are seeing? And that's what I'm saying today. We are seeing a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of lewd stuff, a lot of vulgar behavior, a lot of gestures that are just not appropriate, and no season. Not even a couple of days after Holy Week. It's not ever appropriate. It's just bad language.
Steve, I don't mean to beat up on the podcast, but we've been watching this in the PLP for 5 years. A member of the PLP sat in the House of Assembly and talked with beating a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, this is not a new behavior from this PLP. Now it's beyond that. It's escalating. A cabinet minister told his constituents, "Man, don't worry about a Category 5 hurricane. Go into Kiev. Go into Kiev, man." Okay. So while he jumped on a plane and went to Orlando.
Interesting.
Okay. This level of absolutely insane, callous, uncaring behavior is the PLP. You and I coined phrases over this. They have no concern for our concerns. You and I sat here and gave a whole analogy of the fact that we, over 2 years ago, could look at Christie and see he was naked.
Yep. We talked about it.
We talked about the fact that the emperor had no clothes on. And that is to say that he is behaving in a confused, lost, embarrassing manner.
It's a serious thing. John, I'm concerned, because even though you look at them and they've done not so good a job this time, I would prefer to see a government lose its way because they tried to win an election and they just didn't have it. But not to fall apart, not to have the bottom drop out, not to see them doing these self-inflicting wounds that have been not only egregious to the behaving public, but it folds the entire party. And then to look at what has happened here with Jerome. I mean, they have caught Jerome red-handed. He has been caught to the point where all he should do is just resign and try to just go quietly into the night. But you see, I was asking the question earlier, can he do that? Is there somebody from the Parliamentary Registration Department who can say whether or not something like this has happened before, or this particular late stage of the game after the nominations have happened, and now that he is in, can he be removed? Can he be replaced? Can they send somebody else in his place? And to me, logically, I'm thinking, no, they can't, because they then close nominations. He's the man. He's the standard bearer. They've done all their ratifications. They've done all these other things. Maybe they can't do anything about it now. Maybe they've got to ride with him and just hope for the best.
Steve, it's an interesting question, and it's not something I've studied, and I need to study that. And I'm glad you circled around on Jerome, because the truth is that he is a part of a larger administration, but you can't take the spotlight off of him right now. They have to throw Jerome off the book.
They're gonna have to do it.
There's no if or not. And the reality is that to see this, and he shouldn't have been on the boat. Okay, he should have been off the boat for some time ago.
Mhm.
All right, for some time ago. People, honorable people like Damien Gomez and those who step back.
Yeah.
For reasons, similar reasons that Jerome should have also stepped back at that time.
Mhm.
But somehow or another, his problems were saved miraculously. You know, some people got some things sorted out at immigration, and then he got some things solved himself, and he was able to continue. When the time comes, we'll explain that too. And finish with Jerome. But how could Jerome Fitzgerald, knowing that he had solicited business that he now admits
Mhm.
from Sarkis Ismailian, be involved as one of the lead negotiators
For Bahama.
for Bahama, which ultimately ended up with Sarkis Ismailian getting dumped on his head?
Mhm.
The conflict of interest is gross. When I say gross, it is beyond gross, Steve. It is beyond gross. That they continue with him is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Perry Christie should have called him in his office and said, you know what? Whether I knew or didn't know you was involved in this, involved in soliciting business, on the record, I didn't know.
Mhm.
Because you have made me look incredibly bad.
Yeah. I didn't know, but you got to go.
In fact, you have made me look like either I was directly involved in Shanghaiing,
Mhm.
sorry to use the word, in Shanghaiing Bahama from Sarkis, or that I would now be complicit if I didn't take your head.
Yeah. He would be complicit, you know.
He,
You understand that.
okay?
He understands that. He's no dummy. The
Okay.
Prime Minister knows full well that he's now complicit to this particular point because nothing has happened to Jerome at this point.
I can change the room name to Sweet Like Sweet Mickey. All right.
Or he's sweet like a Harlem sissy.
But oh boy,
No, that's a term.
that's
yeah.
a term.
Yeah, sweet like a, smells so good. He's sweet, like a Harlem sissy.
I remember that one, Steve.
Yeah.
I got
I
some
always
fellas-
tease John. I always tease Georgie about it in here because the days of the contract when the fellas came home, they had their hair conked back, you know. You know, when you have that
You know, he always
crimpy
got
tuck-
a little hat and everything twisted to the side.
You brush your hair back with all that that funny grease, that Dax grease, and you come back with the conk.
Man.
That was see, my father was on the contract, so I know what I'm talking about. So they come back with the conk, and when they came out, they walking like cool
Sideways.
Yeah, sideways. That that
With
cool
the
bop,
zoot
you know,
suit.
That, look here, that cool bop, you know. You go, you step out on this way, you side, and you walk in, and you say, "Oh, but I know you."
Oh, but three people could get in one pants leg.
You know, and and Sweet Daddy, and they say, "Hey, Daddy Cool." That's where it came from, you know. Hey, Daddy Cool, and he say, "I got you." And the next thing you know, he say, "That's you, boy. You're sweet like a Harlem sissy. So good, you smell like a Harlem sissy." So I don't know if this is what is happening, but
But look, all I can say, Steve, is you got to be sweeter than Shane. You know, it can't say sweet Shane. It got to be sweet Jerome. All right.
Oh my Lord, that
And-
sounds so
and-
good. John, say it again.
It's sweet Jerome.
Oh, say it again, John.
Because all Shane do is get catch on the tape, say, "Oh no," say, "Oh no, oh no, the Shane." Beep.
Yeah.
And Barry sit down next to him, and the two of them cry on Zedness.
By the way, Christy was crying last night. Did you hear that?
Well, maybe that's because he know Jerome got to go.
No,
He started. That was offensive too. Firstly, they come there playing the funeral song, Golden.
That we all get
Cities of Gold.
Cities of Gold. Oh, okay. Mhm.
That's the funeral song.
Yeah.
Far as I know.
Yeah.
That's the only place I hear that song.
Yeah, that's true.
So are you wondering what madness? This like when Finland going up there in the red boxing gloves, going to launch a mega rally
and
go come up on the stage.
They have all these things about the city of gold.
About the cities of gold. What they talking about? But see, this leads back. You know when you think about it. You see, I looked at that as symbolic of the PLP knowing that they're going.
Yeah, into the abyss.
Into the abyss.
Into the long line of darkness.
They're going on that long walk.
Mhm.
All right. And I said, they don't even realize that they're playing the funeral. And Christy started to cry. All right. And
he was overwhelmed with emotion because someone, senators, told me
overwhelmed.
But I
overwhelmed.
didn't understand it.
Overwhelmed. But you never know. He might have just whispered in Jerome's ear, "You got to go.
You got to go, boy."
And it break your heart.
Yeah.
Okay. I have
blue-eyed boy.
You are my chosen.
But you got to go.
You got to go. Not
I think
another
so.
one. Not you. Okay.
Oh, Jerome, not you too.
Maybe that's what had him crying.
Hmm.
But when I think about it, maybe what was going on there is this Christie God complex. Maybe Christie is trying to suggest he could lead people to a higher height, a city of gold, floating about. He beyond hope and help. He beyond refreshment.
Yeah, Papa's got to have a brand new bag now.
Papa got a city of gold in the sky. Papi. A city of gold in the sky. I guess they would. The PLPs was to close their eyes and just imagine this floating city of gold.
We have city of gold, Stevie. We have
That Papa Christie, you know, Papa Christie. I think he may have an Italian Pope complex or something going on. But at the end of the day, Rome has done much worse than Shane Gibson did.
Mm-hmm. He has.
And Christie got rid of Shane Gibson.
Yeah.
He threw him under the bus.
Mm-hmm. Did he?
Well, Shane's still doing all right. And he brought him back. He resurrected him.
Did Shane resign? I can't remember. You know, it's been so cloudy on the Anna Nicole matter. He didn't resign, did he?
Didn't Shane resign? Christie came and accepted Shane's resignation live on TV.
But he still let him run.
With it. Of course.
Hmm.
Of course. That was a different matter.
I remember when Shane resigned because I remember I was supposed to have done the interview and I think Martin Aubrey did the interview or Jerome.
Live with a tear in both their eyes.
Mm-hmm. And so we're seeing a repeat of this whole thing again.
Well, what we haven't seen a repeat of, although I would suggest Sweet Jerome's offense was a lot worse.
My Lord. Boy, John Bostwick, I'll tell you, if they keep John on, if they keep Pearl on, I believe that's going to be the thing that really sends them under.
Brent Simonet stepped down for less.
Yeah, so we talked about it yesterday. Dr. Clark, who was here as a guest on the show, and he was making the point that I don't hear them talk about Brent Simonet. They talk about Jerome. This is what Dr. Clark says. And I says to him, yes, but you know, the thing here is that Brent Simonet resigned. In other words, he did the honorable thing. He resigned when he was told that he should resign. He did resign. So you can't compare these two things together. Jerome should not have anyone have to ask him to resign. He should have volunteered his resignation the minute he picked up that first copy of the newspaper, because they tell me he tried to buy all the newspapers out so nobody could see it. All right?
Again today.
But he should have resigned. The minute he saw that, he should have resigned.
This started from an expose in the Punch on what was Tuesday, Monday's Punch. And he denied it aggressively. They should know that certain journalists, no matter how sensational they write, they wouldn't go that far. The evidence. Okay? And as you say, they ain't finished with Jerome. There's more. And at the end of the day, he ain't the only one.
Well, this is what we know. There are many people who went knocking on the door, so to speak, to put it lightly and gently, of Sarkis's million, because fleecing time was in vogue in 2013 when this man had decided that this is what we're going to do, and Christie gave him the blessing and so forth and so on, and they heard Chinese money never done because he was going to go to China now and get, you know, to make sure that this thing could come through. Many people were knocking on his door trying to fleece the man. And I call it fleecing because the truth be told, you're a cabinet minister, my friend. Behave yourself. You ought to know better. You ought not to even be involved to conflict yourself. Everybody is now of the perception that this particular government has been conflicted for a very long time because they've been doing things by putting their hand out and trying to get some money from these people. And that's called fleecing, because the truth be told, if you bring nothing to the table and have nothing to offer, but you are there making demands about your concern for your family and all this kind of stuff, listen, man, take it easy, because no one is obligated to give you $1. You are insisting on it by writing emails back and forth, throwing yourself at the mercy of this man. And then Jerome comes back, in his case, that nothing came of his many queries to the man. So in his mind, he figures it's okay because he didn't get no money.
Nothing came of his queries, but rejection.
Mhm.
It is not that nothing came.
Rejection came.
Rejection came.
Yeah. The fella said,
And
"I
that
gave
is
you nothing."
why you cannot now be put in control of this man's fate after he has personally rejected your advances.
That's right, because you could have been spiteful.
You could have been spiteful.
That's right. In
Okay.
hindsight, when you look at it.
All right.
Yeah. And the man could not have gotten a good chance, and everybody would have been trying to gun to throw this man under the bus. Maybe he still has one or two friends within the PLP, though. This man name is Marie.
And the other head negotiator should not have been in that position either, having admittedly quite a number of shops owned by her family in the same establishment. The two people negotiating, grossly conflicted.
My lord.
And there's no excuse and no explanation given by this government to this day. Grossly conflicted.
Serious thing. Anyway, I want to turn my attention to a couple of things because all of this is the part of the narrative. You can call us 325-0235-6. We're listening to what you have to say. Don't call me on the WhatsApp phone. Send me your text on that and your WhatsApp messages. And that number is 376-9234 for WhatsApp and texting. But people are already involved in what this whole thing is all about. This person says, Wayne would twist that and say Jesus rode on an ass on Palm Sunday. So what he did is a good thing, talking about him slapping his backside, saying about tell them on May 10th, the kiss hour, you see? That's what this person says. And this one says that when Christy took to the stage last night, half of the people left. Says when Christy came on the stage last night. Now, we went out for dinner last night. So we passed along West Bay Street, my family and I. And it was my birthday. That was the occasion.
Okay.
And so when we came back, we went down. We saw the crowd was not so big. We came back up and we looked across on the bay and we saw that the crowd had not grown. But it was like around 10:30. And I'm like, okay, so maybe it's over. We saw all kind of people leaving, going in their cars, walking up the hill in their T-shirts. And I'm saying, but why are they leaving? So I know what this person is saying is true. He says that
They probably thought it was over when they heard the City of Gold. They
thought that they didn't lay the victim to rest.
They didn't think that was Christian music coming for Christy coming. So well, it's over.
This fella says,
I guess next time they can play it is over.
Say half of them left when Christy came to talk. This person says, boy, Steve, that soundbite is royal. Well, mother sick. You got him. Talking about the soundbite from Abaco. Compliments and property of one Aaron Ferguson, who in fact was a protege of mine. And you know Aaron Ferguson, he used to do the show on Wendell Station. So this person also says, I hope the pot cake boxed that 23023. Remember the pot cake was talking about how
23 is his number.
23 because he added him and Brave to the number. Do you realize that it was no joke when I told you that Christie didn't count Brave and him, you know, and their pick for 21 seats. And Potcake added him and Brave. That's our joke. Potcake added him and Brave as two winners as well. And so that's why the number is 23. So the fellas now who listens to the show says that he hoped he boxed this.
Steve, you know, it's so strange that you said that, not to stir PLP business, but I am hearing on the road that the PLP candidates who are most likely to win are those who are openly anti-Christie.
The ones who are most likely to win.
Are most likely to win. Those who are furthest away from Christie.
May pull it off.
They have the best chance on the field because of their willingness to openly disassociate themselves with Christie.
You may just open a Pandora's box because really there's some people who are distant and yet they seem very close.
Not there.
They're not there.
We want to name some?
Yeah. You know, my good friend who, you know, I have a friend who I really like in the PL. You know, he know with the West End move.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And he ain't no dummy.
Nope.
And he is the fella who is the person to inherit the leadership of the PLP, you know. He is the real inheritor of that. When you go back in history and you see that Pinland grabbed Christie and Bernard Nottage and another senator. This other senator he grabbed and he said, this is your leader, your co-leaders. This is deputy leader. This is the deputy leader. They will be the future. And this fella here, says Pinland, You know, his time will come. And of course, BJ went out, tried to take out Christie, and Christie beat him. So you had Christie become the leader of the party, and BJ faulted. And then that other fella, that senator who was supposed to be the man, his name is Obie Wilchcombe. That senator, believe it or not, was handpicked in the road of succession. That's why when you hear people talking about who is the person who's supposed to take over after Christie, everybody says Brave Davis. But listen here, if they go by the script written by Penland, the script is Christie, BJ, if you don't miss your chance, and then Obie.
Now,
that's a fact.
Let me say this.
No, John, let me just.
But you're missing something.
No,
you're missing somebody.
Okay.
That was supposed to start with Hubert Alexander Ingram. Next was Perry Christie, and then Obie. Mr. Nottage was trying to get in something he wasn't really invited in.
That's exactly right.
He wasn't really.
He was just he was just what you call it. He was a patsy.
He is the alternate.
Yeah.
If one of them would fall out, twist the ankle, like how when Christie used to run the forum, couldn't make it, and Bernie could have run. All right.
So you're right. I did miss that because the point is that you're right. That is where the PLP cut was. And then so Ingram got it.
Steve, I young, but I study my enemy, you know.
Ingram got it. Then Christie got it. And then this new fella who's supposed to get it is Obie.
Obie.
It is
but
not,
let me say this to
it
you.
Is Obie.
But let me say this to you. Let me say this to you. If they think, if Christie think Obie wouldn't cut his throat, now listen to this, and throw him over the bridge into the water, he may have an unpleasant surprise.
Mutiny on the mutiny on the Bounty.
Throw him over the bridge into the water.
Into the water.
He may have an unpleasant surprise.
My Lord. Pardon me. But listen, so I only wanted to reference that what I said just now because we are both students of history and much
but just
study.
to say that there are certain of them that may take 2 steps back off of Christie and make it kind of clear. Well, look here.
Well, that's what's gonna happen. I predict that. That's what's gonna happen. You
So
see,
we say Obie Wilchcombe.
Yeah. So
Alfred Gray.
Yeah.
Leslie Miller.
Yeah.
Alfred says. Brave Davis.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 or 2 more, but they my boys and I can name them.
Yeah.
But so
yeah, but John, listen to this.
I think
the truth.
I think Papi Christie should take a count of his Cardinals. He should watch him close.
Yeah. Well, you know, he's doing that. Christie no fool. People, some things you just can't change. The line of succession is supposed to roll out just as Penland would have indicated. And since they don't want to play that game, that's up to them. See, they're gonna.
But you know who else ain't in that? Brave ain't in that.
You telling me or you asking me?
Brave ain't in that.
I know he is.
And see, that's the big problem.
See, but that's just it. That's why I'm saying they're forcing something that is not supposed to be. You take it from me. I tell you, when you saw them was chanting Obie, Obie, Obie down there, that was a direct defiance in that rally to let Christie and Jerome, especially Jerome,
It ain't gonna go like that.
No, that don't try that. Don't try this Obie town.
You think them emails might have come from that might be friendly fire, you know?
It could be friendly fire because you say they were found in the garbage. They weren't. They came from, and CCA say that they come from their computers. Where did it come from? Where did it go? Nobody knows. You remember the story that you read? So now you see it. Now you know where it come from. Nobody knows. Anyway, the press has it, and where there's more from where that came.
You think somebody in the PLP inner circle may think Jerome was just looking too sweet?
Yeah, and he was out of
rising
place.
too high and
Yeah.
wasn't in that that rank.
And we ain't supposed to be there. And no one, look here, if you are in line to inherit something, you can't afford all these fellas coming from the back of the line, jump in front of you, you know.
But don't you understand?
You will react.
Don't you understand that Christie says that this is now Christie's party? This ain't Penland party no more. Y'all cut a deal with Penland.
Yeah, well, that's all right. He is a
y'all could pray to God.
He's a recipient.
Y'all could pray to God. But y'all got to deal with Christie.
I hear you. I hear you.
All right?
This person says,
y'all talking about deal cut with Penland. Y'all want me put all y'all out this party.
Listen to this. This person says, ha, 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 ha. He laughs out loud. He says, you talk about he smell like a Harlem sissy, meaning Jerome, and you talk about him being sweet. This person says, man, guess what? Say Jerome also got the look. Say he also got the look too.
Oh, he got a look.
He said he got the look. You remember the term?
Rollins had the
Rollins had the look.
Rollins had the look.
So, brown skin kind of curly hair.
Curly brown skin, curly hair.
But Rollins said that Jerome ain't got a look. So he's a devil with the big nose with the horns coming out of it.
He ain't pretty enough.
Let me run to the telephone lines and take a call. I've got lots of sound bites to play. Look at the time. Hard copy. How are you?
Steve McKinney, how you doing, buddy?
I'm very good. How are you?
All right, JT here. Hey, John.
How you doing, JT?
Well, thank God for life. Gentlemen, first of all, let me say that at the very, my predictions for this election is that we are going to have a coalition government. The PLP will not be winning this next election. I'm not sure what that coalition mix will look like. That's my prediction for the outcome of the election. Okay.
Well, it's becoming clear and clear every
I could
day.
be right on that one. I could be wrong. All right, but that's my prediction.
I hear you.
The other thing, gentlemen, with all seriousness of heart, you said something, Steve, that if the PLP, and I'm paraphrasing you, if Christendom don't deal with this situation with Fitzgerald, that this could sink them.
Yes, I believe that.
So, Steve, their boat done sink to the bottom of the ocean. How further down you want them to go?
Probably the other side.
You can't sink no more than the bottom, mate.
Very true.
And Steve, come on, man. You have brought a lot to the Bahamian people's attention over the past 5 years on your show. So what I'm endeavoring to say, man, is even though I suppose we're trying to be kind and nice and pleasant, let's be real. Call it what it is. This the PLP ship then sink.
Okay.
God then tell you and me through many people, and you've had one of them on your show, Johnny Rutledge, is it?
Yep. Johnny Rutledge, yeah.
It over for the PLP.
Yeah, but now people are becoming believers because they're now seeing the whole thing being
Sensation
undone.
of it, eh? Yeah.
They're seeing it being undone.
Yeah. And see,
Unravel right before their very eyes. You'll see things that you've never seen before.
that's the prophecy that Pastor Miles was given, that he shared with the nation before he died.
Yep.
And all I'm basically wanting to say today, Steve, I want to see God in this country, throughout this country. I want to see the Bahamian people be given the prominence in this country as we have the right to it. And I want to see we Bahamians in a position where we benefit, control, own this whole entire country. I am sick and tired of being insulted and assaulted by politicians, whether they're on the PLP or the FNM side.
Understood.
You know, a case in point, them going in Parliament after elections and saying, the people say, but I. You know, but I, there's no personal view in that House of Assembly. And I will conclude on this note. I am saddened on two notes tonight in respect to parties for this election. First of all, and most importantly, see how the People's Movement dissolved, went nowhere.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. And I'm also, according to the chairman of the BNCP, as I spoke with him yesterday on nomination day, I was disappointed to find out that the party that I support, NCP, Wesley Campbell being the leader, we were only able to successfully nominate 15 yesterday, even though that had quite a number of people interested or expressed their interest for some reason. Only 15 of those stood the test on nomination day.
Yeah.
That's a disappointment to me too.
But JT, be encouraged because the Lord knows what he's doing.
I'm glad you said it and you said it like that, because God can still work miracles. And let me tell you, folks, do not count. And I'm not a supporter of any of those parties, as you know. I support these, but do not count the DNA out.
No, you mustn't.
Out of all of the platforms presented in this election, from what I could tell, the DNA has the best platform, and that is closest to what BNCP has. So that's why I end as I started. Coalition government. That is my growing gut feeling. What do you say, John? And I'll hang up and listen to your response, buddy.
I appreciate it.
JT, I'm glad that you called, because in one of the things that Steve mentioned in his opening session was that they have made this election, and forgive me, it is not to say to take away what we talked about before. There are people who are offering themselves in this election who do not need to be candidates. Most of those persons who are PLP MPs who are offering themselves again are in breach of the law, having not disclosed. I don't know if they gave the disclosures necessary to file for their candidacy. Be very interesting. But however, it doesn't erase the fact that they were to disclose and still need to disclose for every year that they have sat as public officers in the House of Parliament, either the Senate or the House of Assembly. It is the known fact that more than 60% of them have failed to disclose, which means that they are in breach of the Public Disclosures Act, which further means that they have a criminal liability to answer. Up to 2 years in jail and forfeiture of all of their assets, but yet they have the nerve to present themselves as being election.
Shame on them.
Again, this is work for the FNM to do, because the FNM is actually innocent of this. They did disclose for the most part, excepting the one who is now running as an independent.
Loretta Butler.
Who apparently has not.
In Long Island.
Apparently has not.
Understood. I've got to take many calls here on the telephone line. Let's get back to the calls. Hard Copy, how you doing?
Hey, Steve, how you doing? Shannon Johnson. How you doing, Mr. Boston? Studio.
Good day, good day.
Point, Steve. The first point is that the deal that was made with Lyndon Pinlin and Obi was also the fact that he would never challenge Perry Christie for leadership, and Perry Christie in turn would anoint him as the...
Exactly.
And that's an exact promise, and that's why Obi has never challenged him. Okay, and I actually misinformation. I know in the PLP hierarchy, deeper than most people know. Brothers and sisters in the 80s and 90s, just so happened, I was born when my dad was in his 60s. Second point, the PLP knew this involves Obi also. Because Obi may not make it to the House of Assembly, keep his promise. And here's the point: the PLP normally have a rally 1,000 square feet spot. They went to a 15,000 square feet spot for their last rally. They now come back to the 180,000 square feet. I'm gonna send you some videos and pictures from the drone. They are fenced off less than 20,000 square feet. Put in and everything and chairs and to make a crowd cluster for the camera.
Yes.
Because they cannot get enough people with 36,000 in the voters here and bringing people in. So they have this cluster. So you went, from 2012 election, there wasn't enough room in 180,000 square feet. Now they can't fill 15,000 square feet. In fact, the FNM rally holds in the room alone, the owner tells you he has 1,200 chairs. Now here's my point. Obadiah Wiscombe may not win his seat on Grand Bahama.
Is that right?
And the PLP will lose. But here's the point. If Perry Glassman Christie does the honorable thing at by-election for Centerville, like they did for the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, Obi will have an opportunity to run again and try to redeem himself. And then he get a sense of leadership, makes it through that by-election.
Wow.
My prediction with the PLP being swept out of office.
I hear you, Critical. I've written it down, and I'm going to watch with interest. I appreciate your call. Thank you kindly. My goodness. You hear that, John?
It's always a way.
Always a way.
Front door to back door with them fellas.
And sometimes you got to break down the door. Hard Copy, how are you?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Peace and love. Good.
It's a very sad day for the Bahamas. When we address our members of Parliament, honorable member. I think that's a loose term in this country, referring back to when the referendum wasn't passed. And if we look what happened in England and Britain when the referendum was not accepted, the prime minister stepped down. Now, referring to what Mr. Fitzgerald did yesterday, or what was revealed yesterday, the honorable thing for him to do was to immediately tender his resignation. Now, if nobody in the party, namely the prime minister, asked for his resignation, that means he approves of the actions that Mr. Fitzgerald did. Also, looking back at it now, when he made the statement that he didn't kill any of the information that he got from the Rubis oil spill because he wanted to save his job. Now, when you look back at it, it's because if he lost his cabinet position, then he would not have been able to have any influential position in once Mr. Ismaili and giving him contracts. You know, now he claims that he was unsuccessful in his attempts of soliciting business from Bahama, but the attempt alone is the crime, because if I attempted to kill somebody but was unsuccessful, I'm still subject to some type of the court of law.
Absolutely.
And last night I was very disappointed to see Mr. Fred Mitchell trying to defend these actions or just try to blow them off. The PLP has become very good at spinning everything. I mean, they have become very good at that, but it's just very disheartening, and I'm very disappointed. Like you said, Mr. Fitzgerald showed such promise in the beginning. I remember watching him on the beach, and being such an advocate for
the environment.
For the environment, after he got into office, I guess it's all about him now, and
I tell you,
it's just a sad day. And I hope that the rest of the Bahamian people realize that he is just a self-serving individual, and he should not be rewarded. But I don't feel that he should even be able to run. But I'd like to find out if, like you said, you're going to do some investigation, if he can be replaced, or if the PLP should just do the honorable thing and leave that seat just vacant during the election time. Thank you, gentlemen.
I appreciate your call. The gentleman said quite a few things. I'm getting back to the calls in a minute. One of them, quickly, John, is the fact that, Jerome should resign his seat. And if the PLP has to bite the bullet and leave the seat vacant and know that they have already lost that seat, then so be it. The only other thing is that Christie becomes complicit as the leader, and he, again, is being tested. See, the Lord sometimes tests you right to the limit, right to the 11th hour. He'll test you to see if you know how to make the right decision.
Christie is responsible for the actions of his cabinet ministers.
Absolutely.
And if he doesn't deal with them, he must carry that blame with him. So, and I want the people to understand, if the prime minister fails to deal with Jerome Fitzgerald, who has now admitted, then the prime minister is also admitting that he might as well have done it himself.
Right.
Okay? And I think what is going on here too, Steve, is that the prime minister knows deep in his heart, this is the first election of its type. This is a now born-free generation, millennial, social media, high-tech, digital election.
That's right.
There ain't no secrets. Beforehand, look, before every election, the firm of Bostic and Bostic used to be broken into and ramshackled. And they would go through every flipping paper in that building, trying to find something. That's how they got in the so-called garbage can. So you have to have safes and files, the old-fashioned file drawer with a combination on every drawer. And they would come and they would try to pry it open, crowbar, and it ain't like that no more. A 15-year-old could get in your political garbage can.
Right now on the super information highway.
A 15-year-old could open up the Pentagon. All right? Think but you, Mr. Fitzgerald, Mr. Gibson, and all you others who got some things on your hard drives that maybe shouldn't be there.
Serious stuff.
Okay? This is a new game. This is a new game.
That's what Miles said. The weapons that used to keep
These
us
old
can no longer
weapons,
keep us.
These old weapons, they have no
This technology is a serious thing.
They have be free, we set loose. Okay, you might not have the Freedom of Information Act, but this is the information superhighway. Okay, and if I really wanted, I could get it. Okay, so the reality is too, I think Mr. Christie knows, we call it in law a floodgate. A floodgate, just like a sluice gate on a dam. If he takes and moves his sweet bishop on the chessboard, and he says, you got him, you got my bishop, and that bishop moves, he knows that the whole house is coming down.
House of cards will
what
fall.
Mr. Fitzgerald is guilty of, like I just said, he ain't the only one. There are others. And Jerome Bobby don't tell him, sweet Jerome, tell him, boy, if you chop me, I could chop him, and him.
Yeah.
And her.
And the whole house of cards comes
And
falling down.
Okay?
My Lord.
Now realize I say him, and him, and her.
And her.
And her.
Yeah. And you know,
okay,
you know plenty things because she better in that same office where she just be.
Where she, plenty time.
And Noli Pussy Queen.
And some okay, they keep switching chair and riding playing together. Okay? So he can't let go. He can't let him go. Because he let him go.
What a tangle where we weave when we first practice to deceive. The whole thing could just blow up in your face. Hard copy, how you doing?
Good afternoon, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, sir. Good
How are you
afternoon.
and your
We're fine.
yesterday?
We're fine. We're beautiful.
Okay, there's two observations. Number one, the emails were friendly fire. Number two, the FNM will win by 5 seats. The DNA will form the official opposition. Have a good day.
I appreciate it. So that's the verdict coming in from that particular fella in polling division number 1, he says, right?
That call that says there will be no more PLP.
There'll be no more PLP. He didn't mention the PLP.
There'll be no more PLP.
Maybe they're under, that's it for them, maybe. Hard copy, how are you?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. McKinney.
Reconciler.
How are you, sir?
I'm in good shape.
Great, great. Brother John, born free.
Born free, my brother.
Yes, indeed. You know something, Mr. Christie? I am seeing the unraveling of the PLP right before my very eyes. I am seeing the prophecy of Miles Monroe coming to pass, and I'm seeing the words and the prophecies of Johnny Rutledge coming to pass. The PLP is dismantling. What I saw last night at that F&M rally, that is fully indeed a red tsunami. If those people are genuine in what they are saying and supporting Doc and rocking with Doc, PLP is going to lose. If they get 5 seats, they do good. And Perry Christie, I just saying he could lose a seat. Mr. McKinney?
Yes, sir.
I could be wrong, but I believe Perry Christie could lose a seat. Why?
Somebody else told me that today.
Because he has taken those people for granted for 40 years, and he has not done anything to help those people. And if those people support Christie, they'll show that they love, like the people say, the getting with the sucker get. Okay? So, and I don't think behind people that
I got you.
I believe that they're gonna woke these people. See, Mr. Fitzgerald, I saw him doing one dance. He looked like one foul snake with 2 legs. That's the day going through the nomination thing.
Oh boy.
And I said, this fella, he ain't got no shame.
Yeah.
How could he?
That was a dance of shame right there.
Huh? Yeah, how could he? He tries to deflect and distract from what he did. See, you ain't getting catch. You did it, you committed the offense, and you are liable, and you gotta suffer the consequences and the penalty for doing what you did.
Absolutely.
That's law. Isn't that law?
You must
So
pay.
right there. Isn't that law, Brother Bonfrey?
I would think so.
It is law. And I heard someone say, and another thing, Mr. Monroe, for what he said, and I shift when I was watching the rallies last night, I shifted to the PLB. I thought I would really see in the funeral service. That was so dead. You could see the feet. If you could see the feet, I saw the feet last night on the PLP in their rally.
They told me that Jerome Fitzgerald wasn't there. Was he?
No, I didn't see him, but
No,
I
I'm
saw
talking
the
about he didn't speak.
who were there.
Yeah, I'm
It
talking.
was like a dead, somber feeling. Now, I saw saw when Mr. Monroe came on, and the Monroe talked about if they go low, we go lower, and we can shoot from low. And the backside thing, all that foolishness. This man's supposed to be a Queen's Consul. He's seeking representation of the people, and he come with this kind of low life talk. Man, that fella ain't fit to get elected for nothing.
I hear you.
He ain't fit to get, and Mr. McKinney, the Bahamian people is tired of the PRP who have taken them for granted, who have, Bahama is not still unsealed, not unsealed, and they said they're going to unseal it, and you talking, I glad it open. Why glad it open? Because Bahamians will get jobs. I'm glad.
I appreciate it.
One of the soft opening. And the Bahamian still get 1,200 acres of land. We have equity in that. And these politicians should have made sure to negotiate that will be reflected, that that's our property and we have equity and we have some ownership in that property. Have a good day, gentlemen.
I appreciate your call, Reconciler. And of course, people are watching with interest and scrutinizing and talking some things that really make some sense when you really look at it. Hard copy, how are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. McKinney. Good afternoon, Born Free.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
You know, Steve, when I watched that videotape, I had to watch it at least 3 times to really see if that was really.
You mean this Wayne Monroe tape?
Yeah, this Wayne Monroe thing. I watched that 3 times to make sure I was seeing right, you know, because we came at an all-time low, you know. But then when I hear Doc call for Mr. Christie to remove Jerome Fitzgerald, which is true and he should be removed. But bear in mind, Steve, you know, you remember the Ishmael Lightburn situation.
Yes, I do.
The Prime Minister himself called the bank manager, asking in terms of what he can do.
Yep.
Same thing, same scenario. You know, basically, you know, in terms of
in other words, he's been on this run. He's been misdirecting things for a long time.
Exactly. So this what we are saying here, and what makes this thing so despicable is this. You know, when you talk about you know, imagine someone in Marathon or anyone in general, any Bahamian, purchasing limousines or in custom brokerage business. Anyone right now who is in the limousine business, taxi service business, or custom brokerage.
No, you're right. Trucking and all that.
Trucking or shipping.
Trucking and custom brokerage and limousine service. The fella wanted all. He want all the contracts.
Should be up in arms, you know,
My
because
Lord.
we're talking about empowering Bahamians and small and medium-sized businesses, and we're saying how difficult it is to do business in this Bahamas. But we don't know who all own what.
My Lord.
This is very, very, very disturbing, Steve, in terms of these persons who, I mean, the greed just seems to overwhelm us. And it seems like, you know, we definitely have to, whichever government come in power, which I believe will be Dr. Minnis. But bear in mind, Doc said that the first thing that he wants to table is an anti-corruption bill petit.
Serious thing.
And if we can get this bill, Steve, I can assure you, we're in prison. They're for petty things like hawking. I believe that prison will be vacant and preparing the way for these powerful men who's going to come after them.
I got you.
And I'll leave that like that.
I hear you, my brother Duncan. Good to hear from you too, Cleaver. I appreciate it.
Steve, 2 things. The anti-corruption legislation. Anti-corruption legislation is in some ways available in the Bahamas because we signed on to the UN Anti-Corruption Treaty.
Gomez knows all about those kinds of things.
Exactly.
We spoke about it at length. I have a whole show on that.
Exactly. And you and I was in the Senate at the time, and I bought you a copy of the treaty. And that treaty makes all of this behavior grossly illegal.
That's right.
Okay. Now, of all the bills that this administration has passed, this entire legislative agenda of this administration has been in order to comply with some external force.
That's right.
Okay, and you look at the objectives of the bills, and they say in order to comply with WTO regulation X, Y, Z, in order to comply with UN treaties, you got to do X article such and such X, Y, Z. But they never ever addressed or looked at the anti-corruption. So it means that if we wanted to bring action under that, we would have to go to the world courts. But it doesn't change the fact that it should happen, and that the FNM should make it a primary statement on the campaign trail right now that not only would the legislation is not novel, it's all over the world. Okay, it's already been it will be governed in and ushered in by the treaty. So you don't have to go looking for the legislation.
It's already written.
That should be, it should say the first bill table is not we going to look for and go into committee and look for this and look for that.
No, it's already there.
It's already there. We will table it. And the next thing we will do, not any kind of stop review and council in Bahama, we will have an all-out commission of inquiry on all things to do Bahama. And the chips will fall where they may, because truth is there might be some FNMs mixed up in it. There might be some FNM supporters mixed up in it. But to get a hold of things like what we hear now with cabinet ministers, Steve, I looked at a case in Switzerland the other day where it was found out that the Minister of Defense in his private life, before becoming the Minister of Defense, represented a plane manufacturing company out of Sweden. When he was the Minister of Defense, many years later, that same company put in a contract to sell planes to Switzerland. When it was found out that he had that relationship, he had to go.
Absolutely.
He had to go.
But we have a similar situation with Bahama, who were the lawyers for this whole thing. From the jump street. Everyone saw the red flag and didn't pay any attention to it. And now these same people are negotiating on behalf of
Steve, you hear what I say? All things Bahama. Starting from the fact that the President Attorney General's firm represented Ismarillion in the acquisition.
That's right.
And that the present Prime Minister's firm represented Ruffin in the sale of the assets.
And move forward.
We want to know who got that contract for the roof. We want to know who got that contract for the pool deck. We want to know who got that contract for the landscape. Specifically those.
My Lord. Hard copy, how you doing? Hi, good.
You know, the United States has a law to combat criminalization called the RICO Act.
Yeah, the RICO Act.
Influence. Yeah, also you know about it. And you know, if you would take all the things that the PLP has done in the past 5 years, it would be considered an organized criminal organization.
Under the RICO Act.
No lie.
Under the RICO Act.
I was wondering where he was going with that, but no lie.
trying to influence a private investor to give contract to his father.
My Lord.
Whether he had it,
think of it.
The email states he was trying to get contract. And as a member of the government, he is well aware that he has the influence and the capability to pass laws to make sure that that company, that private investor, doesn't get anything done.
That's right.
If he wants to,
he could be an obstacle.
Appointed as one of the two lead negotiators on behalf of the government to oversee that private investor's future.
That's a serious thing.
But that is why I'm thinking that's exactly what happened. Because we know that Sarkis went to the United States to try to file bankruptcy.
Right.
We know that the Obama's government stopped that. We know that they appointed Jerome Fitzgerald and Allison Maynard Gibson to be the negotiator for whoever supposedly was going to buy it. I don't think it's sold yet. But that is where we have come to in this country, where we have blatant organized crime happening.
The RICO Act is very necessary. We must read up on it some more, John, and present some elements of it. But the gentleman is making a very, very valid point. I appreciate your call.
The gentleman has said that.
Yes, sir.
So when are you going to get me on your show to challenge Leslie Miller in a debate?
You want to challenge Leslie Miller?
In a debate, yes.
Okay. Well, you give me a call, because I may, in fact, have Leslie Miller up for the final time before the election sometime next week.
Right.
All right. Call me. Call me at my telephone. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Very good. And he's very qualified on those things too. So that's a very interesting thing. I don't know if Potcake will be up for that. Potcake, these days Potcake seem to be very troubled. John.
Potcake say if you want to row, he could row. You hear the man say?
Yeah.
Man say debate.
Anyway, you leave my friend Potcake alone. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy. Hard copy, how are you? Okay, are you there? Okay, good. Now listen, here's something that I wanted to share with you, because we started to see the nervous breakdown, if I can term it that way, the nervous breakdown early in the week with Wayne, and that led up to this thing that happened on Awaki last night. And I started to wonder if what he was saying had some other implications, had some other secret message, some other subtleties. Listen to this, John. This is Wayne Monroe talking about he ain't getting cussed for nobody, and if anybody come cussing him, he can have to cuss some other people. Listen to this.
And the one thing that I tell them is, you know, the PLP sent me to Freetown, and I tell the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, all of them, I will cuss them before I let them cause these people to cuss me.
And that was a deal, right? They understood that.
No, deal. That's what it is.
They understood that.
Nobody has yet said that they have a problem with that. And so that's the deal. And so
he said that's the deal. I first said that was the deal. He said, no, ain't no deal. But he says, ain't nobody have a problem with what I said just now, that I ain't gonna let them cuss me. If they come cussing me in Freetown, he said he was sent there to do the job. He says, but he will love to cuss Brave Davis and he love to cuss Christie. Now, that was just said day before yesterday. So in my mind, I started to wonder if this means that something else is going on that the naked eye can't see. There has to be another fire somewhere in the background smoldering. Something is happening. As if my good friend Wayne Monroe was basically saying to them, you know, don't test me. Don't try nothing. In the context of our conversation. And I wondered about that. I let it pass, but I heard him. And see, that's why I'm saying sometimes people say, get him, man. Say this to him. Don't let him get away with that. You have to let people speak so you can get them on the record, so you can understand when you go back. And I learned this from Hubert Ingram. Hubert Ingram told me, Steve, everything is as what a fella said today. He may connect it next week. You will only hear a piece of it today. Then next week you'll hear the other part of it and say, oh, that's what he was talking about. So you got to sometimes be patient and just let people speak, because if they're saying something, if there's a hidden message, you could find it out. And I believe there was something that Wayne Monroe was saying there, because Wayne Monroe is his own man. We all know that. He's his own man. He doesn't need anybody to deal with giving him any political soft spot. He is his own fella. He's his own man. He's very qualified, very talented, very capable of doing anything. And so I don't believe one way or the other Freetown could mean anything much to him. See, listen to what he said. I will cuss them if they try to make people cuss me, because you all want Freetown and I'm here to make it happen, but don't play no game on me.
Like he said, he will cuss them if people cuss him. And I think that's a very serious statement.
Yeah,
that's a very, very serious. See, Steve, we joke about it, but a fellow who had the look
end up dealing with
was
them.
Just get thrown under the bus for Wayne.
Yeah, that
they
fella,
just got Frank Smith for Wayne.
But talking about Frank Smith, here's what I'm thinking, John. And
how could Wayne turn back on and have conversation like that? These fellas just gone to war for
There you go. There you go.
And already.
Now you're a smart man.
And already.
You have to see the big picture of that. That's the subtlety that I'm talking about.
Let me, and like I say this quick because I see our time is gone, Steve. To give that story to you, quick little analogy. The story about the snake and the Indian. And the snake, the Indian found the snake frozen in the winter. Take him inside, warm him up, kept him inside the teepee a whole winter next to the fire. Feed him rats, and springtime come. The thaw came. Snake crawl outside. The Indian walk outside and say goodbye to him. Snake bite him on the ankle. Fella say, well, Christ Almighty, I saved you from freezing in the snow. I fed you through the winter by my fire. Why would you do that to me? Because I'm a snake. That's what I do.
I'm a snake. And now
That's what I do.
Now that you brought up that to my memory about snakes and the rest of it, listen to this. There's Frank Smith, who is the son-in-law of Sir Franklin.
Yes, sir.
And no one sought to save Frank Smith from this tyranny that happened in Freetown. He had to fight, and he fought, and he lost. But listen to this. I believe that Frank Smith, you hearing me, John? I believe that Frank Smith should be the first alternative to replace that fella named Jerome in Marathon, if in fact it could be done. I don't know if it can be. I may be talking outside of my area here because there's some parliamentary procedures, I'm sure, or parliamentary registration procedures that may not make this thing, may not caused this thing to happen. But listen to me. You know why? If it's the very thing that you said, they gutted Frank Smith for somebody who's shown no kind of finesse and responsibility in Jerome Fitzgerald. Maybe they can make it up to Frank Smith by putting him in there. If in fact they could move Jerome, let Frank Smith run inside there. Listen, this may not be able to happen because maybe there's no thing that can happen like that. Make sure that it's redeemable, that Christie could redeem himself before the eyes of the public, remove Jerome and replace him with Frank if that could happen, which is a long shot, I'm sure. That may kind of like bring some kind of solace, some kind of happiness to the PLP body of politics and that kind of thing.
Steve,
I'm
listening to you.
I'm going way over here, but you see, it is just the kind of thing that karma is who said that?
Steve, you know what I'm hearing? Just as you say that, as you hear that, I'm hearing Aaron Friend had one bad dog, and all he had to do is say, "Get him!"
Yeah.
And I hear you, "Get him, Frankie!" Yeah, get him, Frankie. Weak.
But if he don't get the support from his
Frank, you hear what Steve say? Get him, Frank.
If you don't get it, but if you don't get John, I caution you now. If you don't get, and I caution them on this thing, what I said, because if he don't get the support from the chief of the chief, which is Sir Franklin Wilson,
the real chief,
sorry, Christy, I didn't mean to say that. But if they don't get this, see, let me tell you what brought that to my head.
Keep messing with these fellas. They ain't even give him no nightage, you know.
Listen to this. Listen to this. John, did you see something in the picture, in the photograph at Christie? Yesterday's nomination?
No.
Let me bring you up to date. There was Frank Smith in the photograph on every Christie picture yesterday because he got Frank. He has been told, he's been reprimanded. You must find a ways for Frank, and it ain't no Senate post. So he is now in tow behind Christie to become the next representative of Centerville.
I see.
Now, somebody told me that. But I saw the pictures.
Mara told me become available quicker than that.
Well, you see, Marathon now is on the chopping block. Christie's going to have to deal with Marathon. Even if he deals with Marathon from a point of view.
Get him, Frank.
You ain't running. Jerome, go sit down. You ain't running.
Get him, Frank.
We would rather lose this. Frank is right in the back there. And then Christie plus saying, Christie told the people, say, this is my last time nominating. I said, yeah, right. We had that before. He said that yesterday at nomination day. This is last time nominating, right? Now, here it is. Christie may be on his long walk out of there anyhow. So the other chief who in charge of everything, the son-in-law may be able to wiggle inside there to be in apprenticeship for that particular area.
Well,
but he may have to move that area and go into Marathon because they got a party pooper, a party killer in Marathon, in that Jerome Fitzgerald is now politically dead, really. He is, See, not even if the PLP don't believe so, but the general public, the voting public, they believe so. They believe he's politically dead. And you don't have to believe that. Just watch.
I believe that. And you don't have to sell that to me. I believe that the general public believes that he's politically dead.
Yeah.
And when you say this game of chess, with Critical Thinker said a minute ago, if Obi has to be parachuted into Centerville, literally parachuted into what Leslie Miller said, Christie only there because he had the safest seat in the country. A dead man could win that. A dead man could win. I had Centerville, I could have dead and win that. Christie ain't no gladiator. Christie,
what gladiator?
What gladiator? You never had to fight. Yeah, I fight every time I go. All right. So if Obi could be parachuted into the seat where a dead PLP can win, all right.
My Lord.
All right. And only a PLP will talk about the dead winning and the dead voting and the dead. Anyhow, because we got some people born in the 1700s going in this.
Don't forget it. Don't forget it.
Don't forget that.
700 something years.
Okay. So, but when you look at that move, if Obi is parachuted in and Obi done got the promise, and he can play that card.
Yeah.
He can pull that card as a trump. Then that means that this introduction of Frank
is a blocker.
It ain't gonna fly.
Yeah, that's somebody trying to block the situation.
Okay, but that ain't gonna work, because now if you could divert Frank over to Jerome and tell him focus on that, that sound a good move, Steve.
Yeah,
Steve. Before you go, and I know you about to sign off.
Yeah, no, we go until 7:30.
One of the things that we said in the beginning, I'll have to get back to this because we too have the distraction. It is politics time. It is politics time, and they have made this election, and you said it in the opening, about personalities again. Okay, the last election was about the one-man band versus the marching band. Okay, and I better than Christie. He's not half the man I am, and it's always about these personalities.
That's the only game they know.
It's the only game they know. It's now a personality issue. Minister ain't ready. He could never be ready. I'm tried and tested. It's a personality issue. And as we said, the individual characters of these people should be examined. There's no question about it. They're offering themselves to lead us. Any MP. The individual character, you have put your character on an examination, so expect that. But yet, the election cannot be all about character issues and personalities. The fact is that these elections should be about issues. Okay?
Absolutely.
These elections should be about
But didn't
issues.
we tell them, didn't we remind them
Okay.
daily? Didn't we say, listen, talk the issues, stay away from that other funky stuff?
But Steve,
they
we
insist.
told them that because we are comfortable in the issues. We've come to this platform to talk about the pressing issues, the critical issues, and to present solutions. We are comfortable in that. None of them have come with solutions. So they don't want to talk about issues. They want to talk about what you do, where you been, who you do, and who you ain't do.
Yeah.
Because it is not about issues. None of these parties are talking issues.
Unfortunately.
Okay? Because it is easier for the FNM to campaign of the PLP's failure, their gross, abnormal, disgusting, flippant failure. You ain't talking about no issues. That is the issue. The issue of the day is that the PLP ain't worth nothing. Yes, we agree. But there are some.
How you gonna fix this?
Steve,
Where'd you do with this?
Wednesday morning, I'm standing up on my porch in George Street. Been on the phone from 6 o'clock, dealing with some issues that I now hear, although there is no way he should have known, but I am now hearing that my learned friend knew about. Which is interesting. Only in the Bahamas. But preparing for that matter, talking on the phone from 6:30 in the morning. It was Thursday morning, forgive me. 7 o'clock rolls wrong. I hear pop, 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 pop. What the hell is that?
Sounds like gunfire.
I call a colleague of yours who lives. I said, do you hear? I said, yeah, I did. Find out. Come to find out, a man has been gunned down on Prince George Wharf.
Yeah.
7 o'clock in the morning.
My Lord.
4 ships in the harbor, Steve.
Tourism port.
4 ships in the harbor. 12,000 people. There's some little insights on the paper. So we get distracted by this foolishness.
That's very serious what happened.
By these foolishness, by dancing clowns, by jokey leaders.
We are in an armed conflict zone and we don't believe it.
We are in a live armed conflict zone. And yes, take it back to politics. This administration came to power talking about reducing crime. Now, this is for the FNM to do, but right now, I tell people, where you stand in this? I say, where I stand in this? I stand in this to slew the PLP right now. That's where I stand in this. Now, call me what you want to call me. I call myself the Born Free Nationalist. And I stand on the side of justice. I stand with the people. And in that means I stand against this crook crew of pirates plundering and raping this country. No question about it. that they could come to power with billboards 5 years ago, almost to this day, talking about 480-something murders. And in less than 5 years, they're over 600 murders. On the eve of election, we could have a man gunned down with AK-47 in the middle of the cruise port with 4 ships in the harbor.
My Lord.
And ain't nobody talking about that. Nobody's talking about that.
It's politics time, man. You got that to talk about.
But that's politics.
Exactly. We're missing the issues.
You're missing the issues.
We're missing the real.
Crime is an issue.
Real
Murder is an issue.
Salient
an ongoing armed conflict in the streets of the Bahamas between warring gangs is an issue. How you gonna fix that?
You know, that means that there may be another statement issued by the American embassy and others.
Oh, right away.
Right away in the
Steve,
midst of a campaign that is happening. And, you know,
I can tell you categorically.
Does anybody care about this?
The 4 cruise agencies have already contacted the U.S. authorities. The U.S. authorities didn't contact them. They contacted the U.S. authorities.
My Lord.
This bus was being driven by somebody involved apparently in gang culture. However, this is a tour bus of a noted company of a noted destination in the Bahamas.
Yes.
What am I? A tourist. I've come to the Bahamas, spent my good money planning this for years. I'm going on this famous tour. I find out the tour's canceled. Why? Somebody killed the bus driver on the port.
Jesus. Lord have mercy.
And see, we are now distracted in stupid season. This ain't even silly season. This is stupid season. But yet the dump on fire again.
Yes.
What is the fix to that?
I keep asking that question. Nobody can give me an answer.
A lot of us who was preparing to run independent and preparing to run alternative, we actually have solutions. We actually sit here with solutions. We sit here to discuss issues and solutions to them.
Well, you know, John, this is perhaps the call that we have to answer, because everybody can go and be a part of the big parade and the clowns. Some people got to stand back and be sober and say, hold on a second, look out for this, look out for that, look out for the next thing, because that is what the role has been. That's the role that you've been placed in right now.
Like I tell people, my role, and I heard the caller say, the People's Movement has gone. Look, the People's Movement, when I was a part of it, was not a political party and did not intend to be a political party. It was a people's movement.
Absolutely.
To watchdog and to hold accountable any and all and sundry to the Bahamian people. We March was not a political movement. It was a movement of the people against the status quo. I still marching. I still got plenty of reasons to march. Crime is still out of control. Foreign interests still outweigh Bahamian interests. They haven't resolved the ownership of the beach access. We do not have a Freedom of Information Act. These things are still outstanding today. So these type of groups ain't going nowhere. And the organization of masses of the people ain't going nowhere. I am still a self-defined born free nationalist. I am still one of the 2 original gatekeepers and sitting with the next one.
Indeed.
And we gonna hold this gate. You remember me saying that to you?
We have to hold the gate.
You see, we can hold this gate.
John on one side, and I in the middle of that on the next side. That's how big I am. It's size.
All right.
You see?
And I told you, I say plenty of people can come talk when they holding this gate, but what they can do is they can be cutting hole in the fence while we ain't looking. So and what happened?
They cut hole in the fence, and they ain't only cut hole in the fence, but they gone through the hole.
Okay.
Anyway, let me take some calls. Hard copy, how are you? Good afternoon. I'm listening to you. Hard copy, how are you? Okay, maybe I've lost those calls. Are you there? All right. Hard copy, how are you?
Hi, Steve. With respect to this thing with Fitzgerald, there are 2 things that I wanted to mention. One, the fact that Fitzgerald remained one of the lead negotiators even after Sarkis was out of the picture. Isn't there a possibility that because he was so persistent with Sarkis that he might have pursued an agreement with the new owners?
With the who?
The new owners for Burma.
Oh yes, yeah. Anything is possible. We don't know the level of one who doesn't really have a sterling character where you can say, well, we know he's not like that, he's like this. You see, in certain instances, I can say, even though I'm not a part of that movement, I can say, that ain't Christie. That's not characteristic of Christie, or Christie was out of character. I can say that because, you know, Christie showed that over the years, certain things that he would do. But others, you can't vouch for them because you don't know really if they are schizophrenic as far as their personality is concerned, or if they just so greedy that they'll do anything and so desperate to do anything. You don't know. And so possibilities are endless as to what could have happened as a result of Mr. Fitzgerald being so persistent and then being disappointed that he was rebuffed, and not only that he didn't get any money from this fellow.
Madam, if I may, your question arises because of the appearance of conflict, the potential of conflict, because it is clear now that this gentleman, Mr. Fitzgerald, sought an interest in Bahama, but then went off and negotiated as a head negotiator. And definitely there was a conflict of interest present. And so what we do at law is that we ensure that there cannot even be the appearance of conflict, which means that if Mr. Fitch, who is a lawyer, okay, a trained lawyer, and he knows this from his practice and his training in ethics, as we all have to do, he should have said, Honorable Prime Minister, I cannot accept the appointment as head negotiator because I am conflicted. I solicited work from this entity.
You should have declared.
And he should have stated that and resigned the offer to be head negotiator. But I guess he really wanted to fly to China for his class.
I totally agree. See, I'm just concerned because now we don't know whether there may be still a deal even after Sarkis was out of the picture. We don't know that because the deal is still sealed. That's number one. And number two, if it is found out when the information is revealed that he did secure a contract, is there any way that contract could be rendered null? And my final comment: is there any truth to the rumor that Ferry Christie's brother landscaping contract with Balmar?
All of those things may be contained in that seal deal, or at least it may be covered up for the time, but there has been great speculation and about the same matter that you raised. There's been great speculation. There's been great talking and interest about if in fact this had happened. And we've been hearing it for a long, long time, but no one, and I'm sure they've been hearing it too, but no one sought to ever clarify or analyze or even talk about that particular matter, perhaps because of who is being directly accused of, you know, making sure that something happened for his tribe. You see the point? Yeah, I appreciate your call. Thank you kindly. John, we are conflicted on all sides, eh?
They are.
Yeah, I'm talking about collectively we as the government. I'm not talking about we're not conflicted.
But I actually distance myself from anything to do with this particular administration, and I say they are grossly conflicted.
Maybe this has been a whole 5 year. Maybe this has been a whole 5 year run of trying to get some money, put some money in your pocket, make sure you can secure yourself, get something for yourself, and then we gone after that.
Steve,
maybe that's what it is.
Steve,
maybe that's what this has been all about.
You grew up playing team sports just like me, and ain't nothing like a ball hog. You don't nobody want to play on the team with a ball hog.
No,
I don't care how good you is.
No,
I don't care if you can score 40.
Don't hog the ball.
Don't hog. Pass the ball sometimes. Even if you know I can pass it right back to you. Pass the ball.
Yeah.
Ball hog. Who wants to play on a team full of ball hogs? And people getting cracking. I don't particularly, I'm not a LeBron James fan, but people didn't understand when he said something the other day. He said, we don't need another LeBron on this team. We don't need another carrier. We need another Love. We done got 3 superstars. We don't need no more. We need some support role players. Just some regular Joes who can pass the ball.
Simple.
Okay? The PLP is an all-for-me team. Not all for the PLP. All for me, Jerome. All for me, Shane. All for me, Alfred. All for me. How do you operate with any level of safety and security on a team like that? You can't drop the soap in the shower room. You can't do that. You can't do that. Okay? So you cannot expose yourself to your team members because they all, look, if Jerome was a real team player, he would fall on his sword for the team. Look here, boy, they got me. I can't cost the team at this critical moment. I can sit down. Coach, I can sit down. Coach?
Coach, you saying coach, but who coaching this team? Because, you know, the All For Me team got an All For Me coach or assistant coach, somebody there who have that title of All For Me that goes, that emanated from way back then into this present time, and this is a generational thing. This is a kind of like a dynasty kind of thing. This whole you pick up.
You understand?
Okay.
Steve, if you really had love, like if you knew that there was some problem attached to you, you wouldn't come home to your wife. You would say, honey, I can't come tonight. They're looking for me.
Yeah.
I ain't bringing this trouble home.
No. I gotta save you.
I gotta save you.
Yeah. Maybe I can give myself up or I can fall on this sword because I can't bring this trouble in the house.
I can't bring this trouble home.
Yeah.
What kind of people are they, man? Fellow will come and bring his whole pumper truck full of sludge from out of BC and pump it in your yard.
Yeah, they all for me. Because you know what? At the end of the day, how much money I can get for this?
How much money? They ain't concerned. So all of them better be looking around, watching the next one, watching the next one, watching the next
That's
one.
why
That's why they can't go nowhere.
That's why we can't afford to go forward with this particular group until they clean up their act.
Steve, that's the chaos that you're seeing.
Yeah, I know.
They don't trust one another. They can't do that. We must trust you.
Let me take these last 3 calls because they're calling me and it's 7:29. Let me see how quick I can do that. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, are you there?
Hello.
Oh, sorry about that. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy. My finger's quick now. Okay.
Hello, Steve.
Yes, I'm listening.
Steve.
Yes, I'm listening to you.
Hi. How are you doing today?
Very good.
So nice to hear you and John on. But Steve, this is really, really some depressing time in this country today. When our Prime Minister gonna flick his finger, our man of business who has been so respected in this country for practicing law is going to stand on national TV and take his hand and put his head and say, kiss our ASSS in front of a crowd who's already been psyched up, who probably was drinking alcohol, smoking marijuana, and already psyched up. They do not see that they are creating murderers by this, breeding contempt upon this land, inciting these people to do foolishness.
My Lord.
They do not need these people today. The young people today do not need any encouragement. What they're telling the young people is to retaliate. If someone mashes your foot, turn around and tell them kiss your hip.
Serious.
They are not taking this country and the people business very serious. They really are jokers.
Well, if they are, you know what to do. If you don't want to laugh, you get rid of the clowns. You just say,
No, they are truly, truly clowns.
you don't want to fool with that if that's what it is.
They are very much clowns, Steve. Now, one thing I really need to say to Perry Christianos, they thought we were fools, but we don't know any fools.
I got you.
We, the Bahamian people, are going to show them this time around. We ain't playing with them because we don't want to. They don't need to play with us because we don't want to be played with.
I got you, ma'am. I appreciate your call. Thank you very much. And I hear you loud and clear. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how are you?
Steve.
Yes, sir.
Good night to you and Mr. Boswick. You could hear me?
Yes, sir.
Steve, I just want to say this. I think it's very important that this election come quickly and over quickly so that the Bahamas could really get put in the right direction. Because, there's a lot of competition going on in the world for the tourist market, since tourism is our bread butter right now with Cuba and all that island. So I think May 10th is important to come and go, and I pray to God that the God-fearing government be elected for the Bahamian people so there could be a fair shake for all Bahamians, and that Bahamians truly are put in the forefront of this economy and building this nation in terms of improving the educational system, transport system, fishing industry, and everything. So we really pray that the right administration, but I'm really, really disappointed with this administration. And in all honesty, it's so sad.
I appreciate
Have a good day, Mr. McKinney.
I appreciate it. There's a song. Gotta make the best of a bad situation. Is that Gladys Knight? Ever since that day. That's Gladys Knight, right? We got to find out because that song is in my head.
No.
That's that song, trying to make the best of the best. Final call. How you doing?
Hello, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, sir.
How are you today?
Man, I'm in good shape.
And Mr. Boswick.
Sir.
I heard one man say that he was not following men, he was following Christ.
Wayne Monroe, you're right.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And last night on stage, this is the words that I heard him say about people. He's going to send people where the devil and his angels is. Now, you could describe that after I'm finished talking, what that is. And after that, before he got off stage, he did it 3 times, I was told, but I saw him one time when he held his butt up and he said, "You can kiss that." And now that's a credible man, a very, very godly, credible man. Well, if they teaching him this kind of stuff in church, I would say he needs to change his church.
I hear you.
What do you think about it?
I hear you loud and clear, Spanish Wells, and you were listening to that show when he said that because you called on that show. What you're talking about.
Yes.
I made similar observations that, you can be saying that you're in church, you don't follow man, you are this and that, and the next thing, you're saying on the stage, they can kiss and you slap your backside. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's a whole mix-up thing with them. They're just losing it. The bottom has fallen out.
Did Christ, you think Christ would have said or done something like this?
No. He would have said a better example.
Why did he say he's following Christ and he's so far off?
Well, that's for you to decide. But
Well, what's your opinion?
well, my opinion is that I agree with you. I agree with everything that you're saying. I made the same point earlier with John today. Okay. I made that exact point with John. The point is, we have got to be responsible, especially if we're going to be offering ourselves for leadership. We are all leaders and we are all people being scrutinized, and you got to govern yourselves accordingly. And that is what the problem is. I mean, people can make mistakes, but there are some things that are not really mistakes. There are some things that are deliberate in the disguise of a mistake because people just want to say some nasty, vulgar things. That's just the way it is.
If any sane person, I don't see how any sane person can vote for a man like that. I just don't see it.
I hear you. We'll see.
We can vote him out.
That's the wife, eh?
Yeah, that's her.
I understand. Boy, if she could have go vote right now, I know she'd have then gone on that. Vote them right out. I hear. All the best to y'all, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, Spanish Wells in the house, of course. They don't miss the show. When the hard copy is on, Spanish Wells, you can hear a pin drop in Spanish Wells.
Boy,
Steve, I was amazed. I mean, every house blasting it. That's what they just do in Spanish Wells.
Long Island.
They say, I'm waiting for 5 o'clock. Hard copy soon come on,
I'm glad the last caller went there because something else that Wayne said a lot, man. Wayne put out a lot of information last night, people feeding on it. Yeah. One of the things he said I thought was out of touch was that the PLP is that the FNM is going to take the country, the black Bahamians, back to slavery. And this is a relatively young man, intelligent.
What he said?
That the FNM is going to take the black Bahamians
back to slavery.
Mr. Minnis get beat up because he said he want to take the FNM over the hill, effectively, and that this one is about the people. He took a lot of flack for that. And for Mr. Monroe to come with this roots mentality, see, again, I'm a child of politics. I could remember from early as 77 as a child, Roots on TV. Roots being played over and over again. And this pitch, look, we so far past that.
Yeah, we are.
We are so far past that.
That's why the old weapons we can no longer keep.
That is an old weapon, Steve.
Of course it is.
That is an old weapon. And that you see a man of Wayne Monroe's
caliber
to attempt to use racism in 2017 in the Bahamas is beyond. It's beyond. When I saw that, I wrote and I posted today, it was the PLP who sent the people, the Bahamian people, back 100 years. It was the PLP who barred the Bahamian people from Rawson Square the home of majority rule,
Mm-hmm.
and sent them back to where the majority arrives of slaves in Pompey Square.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The PLP did that. This year, it is the PLP who have turned the freest blacks, the freest black governed country on the planet into a plantation run by low-class Negroes themselves. Natural born Uncle Toms on horseback. And they are trying to turn it into a buck-breaking farm where the young and the strong and those who dare defy them may find themselves in front of court.
Yeah. What did Samuel Jackson say in the movie Django? Who's that nigger here on this?
On that night.
On that night.
All right. We got a couple of Samuel Jacksons sitting up in the cabinet right now. Okay? You don't know how these fellas get so bold and ungrateful. The master let them come in the house.
Yeah.
And that's how they want to carry on. But like I say, but they got it wrong. Some of us bucks are born free freedom fighters, and we will never, never, ever be enslaved. Not by any of them. Not by any of them. And definitely not by a slave mentality. A slave mentality being perpetuated by somebody who claims to be born free. And that for me was highly, highly, highly disappointing to see my very, very learned friend present a slave mentality.
My Lord.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. John?
The old weapons shall not wake.
Not anymore. Not in the New Bahamas. This is a time when you see people that you've never seen before come out of the woodworks, they say, Miles Monroe did, and they will be the ones to take us into the New Bahamas. He says they will come with all the necessary ingredients of innovation, technology, and everything else, and they shall be bold and proud, and they will not falter because of the fact that there's no more space for old weaponry in our Bahamas. He says, and they shall have the Spirit of God upon them. That's what Miles said. They shall have the Spirit of God upon them, and they shall be the ones to take us into the New Bahamas. Does that sound like the PLP? Who does that sound like? Miles prophesied it, and something is happening. My friends, John, I thank you so much for being on the show today. We've got lots to talk about, and we are thankful that we still have the Friday tradition in full effect, and that this is the way it's going as we move toward the elections. But something happened. I have the sound bite. I have an indication of it. It's two minutes long, right? But we're not going to play that yet. But that's a part of the intrigue. I want to keep you listening. This revelation coming over the next few days. There's also Jerome Fitzgerald on the Noli Posse Qui, his explanation, a pathetic explanation of the Noli Posse Qui that happened. I know Papa will be interested in hearing that. And we have those things lined up because it's a matter of record that we must keep the record, and we are the record keepers. It's what we do. We are journalists. We are the fourth estate. We are the ones that Monroe said that we haven't done our job. We are trying to prove to Mr. Monroe that we can do our jobs, and we don't need any second guessing. And so days to come. But here is something that you didn't hear, and I'm sure that you are appreciative that you got a context now as to what happened in Abaco when Christie was talking. And there was all this talk about you could go to God, you could go to this one, you could go to that one. But at the end of the day, they all still have to come back to him, is what he actually said. And this is that soundbite that nobody could find, but we have retrieved it from the archives of a great protege of mine who, in fact, is no longer on the air. But the record speaks.
You can go to Gomez. You even could go to Minutes. But then they gotta call me. They could have the best intention in the world. They could pray and do, oh, God, I want to do this. But God has spoken. God has made me the Prime Minister.
Very Gladstone Christie, and there's a lot more of that in days to come, God willing, because we shared with you since we had been. This is one of the lost files, I call it. It was something that was erased from the records and the history of the Bahamas because it was said that he never said that, and you're hearing pieces of it because that is how you establish it from the record for the record. But you know, other people were around and they were predicting all kinds of things. There was a man called Johnny Routledge, a prophet out of Atlanta. He comes to town periodically about 3 times a year. And in his coming to town, he had been predicting that Christie would be the man. He would run this show. He is the prime minister. He would be prime minister, was his prediction of 2012. And he said it. He says, but if he doesn't do some stuff, midway through the term, he came back and he says, if the prime minister don't get on board, and if he decides to put these Chinese people over the Bahamian people, he will pay a penalty. Johnny Routledge said that too. And then when he came back here a week or 2 ago on this show, he made this prediction. He says, you know what? Not a prediction, but he just says, this is what he see the trouble as being right now, that Christie's in trouble. And there's only one person who can help him. That is the Lord Jesus Christ, who can help Christie, but Christie must first repent.
First of all, Steve, what I'm saying about your prime minister is this: for his own soul, for his own family, for his relationship with the Lord, he need to repent. Now, as far as this country, God has already decided he's not going to lose the Bahamas, whether Perry Christmas repent or not. God is not going to allow no more damage done. You're at the end of this. That's why the new election will replace these current status quo parties with new people. That's going to change the whole thing.
Johnny Routledge. And of course, I was trying to find that song in my head about Gladys Knight. I was right, it was Gladys Knight. But the song is called Gotta Use My Imagination. And I talked about it, and I think we may have that here in the show tonight because that would be quite a way. You know, we're talking about gotta make the best of bad situation. And, you know, Gladys Knight and the Pips. Boy. John Bostwick, the night show has been brought to you by Paul David Moss and the TPM, Devania Spices and Manufacturing, ICS Security, Best in the Business, Water and Sewage Corporation, Bahamas Public Parks and Beaches Authority, Mount Tabor Inspiration, Ministry of Tourism, Echo Water, Parkinson's Foundation, the Free National Movement, House and Mutri in Nassau Village, Hadji's Your Everything Store, Commonwealth Bank, the new debit card, and of course, Rocky Farms Nursery on Seabreeze Lane, Cool Tech, the Ekandu experts on Tonique Williams Darling Highway, Bahamian Brewery and Beverages, Super Wash, open 24/7, Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions, Super Value, the All Bahamian Supermarkets, Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, Big Ron Frazier and Ron's Electric Motors. He can fix anything. Executive Printers on Jerome Avenue, McKinney Media Group for the best results in advertisements and the best ads in the country, right here on this station, Peace. And of course, Bahamas Foot and Ankle on Blake Road. John, have yourself a beautiful weekend, okay?
Steve,
enjoy yourself.
I'm having a beautiful life.
Be safe.
God bless the Bahamas. We got some more to bring for the people.
No question about it. But you know, you really got to make the best of a bad situation, all right? Here's Gladys Knight and the Pips as we go home tonight. Have a funky weekend, friends. Enjoy yourself. Do good. Good night from Hard Copy. God willing, we'll see you next week.
Use my imagination.